Hello? Hello, are we live?
I believe we're live, yes.
We're here? Finally?
Made it through the internet to your homes for the 2020, just going about as well as 2020 is going, but the 2020 co-op tournament, Final Fantasy Randomizer. I'm here with Falconic and I'm Spellzap. We're going to do we got 16 teams this year. We're going to go and do the pairing reveals and then go to a little exhibition race so you guys know exactly what you are going to see in the next month or so.
Yeah, so just to fill you guys in here, what we did is in the FFR Casino Bot race room, Spellzap, the controller of fates, as it were, rolled a d20 and critically failed, got a 6. So we're going to be pressing that shuffle seeds button here in just a second 6 times. Going to shuffle up the seeds. I'll take you over to the bracket page. You will be able to see the exact layout of the brackets, who's facing who in week 1. From there, I will enable predictions. You are free to go to the challenge page, which you can find in our Discord, or somebody can link it here in chat. And predictions will be live. And then we're going to drop it off over to RPG Limit Break. We're going to switch it over, and you're going to see a race tonight. Spells, can you tell us a little bit about who's racing?
Yeah, we've got team, I believe, Never Vorpal versus, and I'm sorry, I should have gotten the other team's name, but
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, what a great team name.
That's an amazing name.
We've got some new faces and some old faces alike. Hangry and I believe it's Dwight are on team Never Vorpal versus DBS and I'm sorry, I got the other guy here.
Demon RHK.
Demon RHK.
Yep. All right. So without further ado, since we've been waiting a little bit here, let's go ahead and get the shuffle seed going. We're going to give it 6 clicks, and then we will switch on over and take a look at the brackets. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and magic number 6. Come on over to the brackets. And there you have it. X for me, toe for you versus Team Eh. The Vorpals versus Onrak Avaparity Theater. I can't pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. Phil Gaia versus spells. You and Danny, Crescent Lake Party Planners. The BBC versus tonight's showcase team, Never Vorpal. You've got Trash Island Bake Sale against Gilgamesh. They're also on stream tonight. Has Been and Wannabes versus the Upstarts. The Game Changers taking on Team Thunder a lot. That's going to be a good one. And Last Minute Chaos against Clever Team Name. Oh boy.
I'm looking forward to some of those matchups. Don't want to get into it too fast. You know, we're keeping them from racing, but you know, I do see that you and I are on the opposite sides of the bracket, so I look forward to seeing you in the finals.
Yeah, see you in the championship. All right, so without further ado, we are going to switch you over here in just a moment over to the stream layout for tonight so that we can get the races going. But it's going to be, I think, a pretty good week 1 or Sweet 16 of the tournament, which will start at the end of tonight. Granted, if you want to get a race in, you're probably not going to get a restream tonight because we do request 24 hours notice for RPG Limit Break, which we're on here tonight, Speed Gaming, and Randomania. But more information and details are available on the tournament website, of course, and as always in the Discord.
That's right. I do see we're all pulled up here, and just to remember from last year, co-op starts on the main screen. So if you're wondering why we're sitting here looking at Corneria Castle and Corneria, that's the reason why.
Take a look at the top right of the screens here, for most of the screens anyways, if it's not cut off in the cropping. You'll see a green circle. That green circle is the Lua script. It's your indication that the Lua script is running. Green means that it is actively waiting. You might see it flash ever so quickly to yellow from time to time. That means it's communicating. The way that this works, the way co-op works, if you're brand new to it and you're just not familiar, you and your partner share all key items. You also share some things like slab translation. When that happens, when you pick up a key item, within 1 to 7 seconds, it's kind of a window, that key item is going to get sent to the co-op server. Once the server has it, your team has it for good. Another 1 to 7 seconds after that, the server is going to send it to your partner. You can use that to your advantage. You pick up key item in a dungeon, stand still for upwards of 7 seconds, and then go on your way. Even if you wipe after that, since the server has it, it'll pass it to your teammate. And if you do wipe, it'll pass it right back to you. So there are some interesting strategies that you can see along the way in co-op. And I think we're going to see a few of them tonight.
Yep, and I've let the racers go, so we should be seeing them start up pretty soon here.
And we are off. So can you tell us a little bit about the parties and how we got here, Phil?
Yeah, it looks like they didn't know the race was going to start a little late, so they wanted to make it go even longer into the night. They drafted between the two teams. We've got one team decided to pick Red Mage Thief, and the other thought that was a good idea. Let's go back and also pick Red Mage Thief. So that's what you're seeing here.
Yeah, well, Light 3 is going to help, especially with 2 mages that can cast it right off the bat, and then if we promote, we'll get another 2 mages. But if we roll life into red unlearnable, this could go on for quite a while. There is an agreement tonight, only tonight, just for the exhibition, that if one team finishes and the other team is not within 5 to 10 minutes of finishing, we're going to go ahead and call it there, bring them into the booth, and get a little bit of a post-game interview. But hopefully we have a competitive race here, and they're Topher at the same time, and we're pulling chaoses and counting down at the last second. So Lit 3 going off, Gilgamesh on the right-hand side of your screen. Looks like Demon RHK is on his way over to Matoya, while his partner DVS is farming some imps. Spellzap, does your team have a strategy as to who covers what ground, or do you guys kind of make it up as you go each sleep?
Yeah, I feel like you'd like to know that information. No, we both split up. It's a lot more even this year as far as the division of labor here. Danny definitely goes and checks Canary Castle first, and then maybe I go up to Temple of Fiends, and then we sort of go from there. But that's sort of the thing you're going to see in co-op, is that since those key items are shared, you're going to want to split up and cover all the different ground and communicate with your partner as far as where things are in the seed. And the biggest thing this year, biggest 2 things this year, is that there's going to be, it's a shard hunt, and those are not shared between teammates. And then also both players have to finish, which is definitely 2 very interesting changes that we're going to see this year to really shake up the game.
Yeah, those 2 mixed with, if you remember last year, we had a lot of loose. It was often the case that you would enter a dungeon and somebody would pick up 3, 4, 5 key items in quick succession. But with no loose this year, it definitely makes things a little bit more interesting. You know where you need to go to get your items, so it's kind of simpler on that front. But then when you have to coordinate with your teammate where you found the shards, and you can't just be vague and say, I found 2 in Volcano, because it's floor and entrance shuffle. So now you kind of have to be able to recognize each floor and communicate that well to your partner and say, it's this location on this floor in this room. Oh, and by the way, it's this chest. Do you have to fight the trap tile to get to it? I don't know. Communicate that. So there's I think a lot more strategy this year relying upon good communication.
Yeah, we sort of made a little bit more room for that by pushing loose out of the picture. By pushing loose out of the picture, you can start to think about, where those shards are and start to formulate a strategy that way.
So we're closing in on the first 5 minutes. You would think you can't get a lot done in 5 minutes, but I promise you in co-op you can. However, it looks like Team Nevervorkle is still hanging around that Canaria area. That rhymed unintentionally. Gilgamesh also still in the Canaria location here. Looks like they're both taking out Garland. This is a typical move that you see in co-op because you never know which one of you is going to find Canaria Castle. And you don't want to find Canaria Castle without having taken down Garland so that you can be the one that talks to the princess to find out what she's going to give.
Yeah, but since that princess rescue is not shared, that's why we're both going to see that Garland kill on both sides. And it looks like, so just to take stock, Canaria Castle today, if it wasn't clear, we're doing a floor entrance shuffle, but Canaria Castle today is Temple of Fiends, and I don't believe we've seen, I believe it looks like Temple of Fiends is Ordeals.
Gross. However, Hangry Canuck has found one of our key item locations. Pretty much every location is incentivized except for the mermaids and Keylock Marsh, at least for week 1. So already right off the bat, we found one of our key item locations. It is the crystal. Canuck went straight to that chest. The co-op server already has it. You can see that dot flickering there in the upper right-hand corner, which does communicate in battle this year. It's another upgrade to co-op. So if he wipes, it's fine. He'll get that item back. What he doesn't want to see right now is a marsh split, and that's exactly what he's run into.
Ooh, early marsh split. That's always a hey, you want to come to this entrance and do that for me sort of play.
It's the no you of entrances. No, you do this. No, you.
Yeah. No, I gotta go turn to that key item over there that I found 2 seconds ago.
Gonna go find Matoya. That being said, worst case scenario did not happen here. You hate to see that split deep in a dungeon. It looks like it's just on the second floor, and the first floor is a very, very quick one, that sky star room. So good to find it early, I guess. And it's better than the C split, if I consider the enemies, maybe?
Yeah, I would also like to see maybe them try to take a shot at an early fight in Sky just to see if they can pick up some quick XP. With that early Sky 2 floor, maybe they can grab a little bit of levels to make everything a little bit more safer.
Oh, hey, look at that. We have a crystal in our inventory already and an early Matoya. That worked out pretty nicely. Gave the Oxale. Doesn't really help us much, except for the fact that Town Shuffle's on, so we could easily find ourselves in Onrak a lot quicker than usual.
Yeah, and it looks like Dwight found Corneria Castle and the Elfland entrance here, so getting able to get those 2 turn-ins real quick. So they're already trucking on these key items.
Yeah, it looks like he picked up, if I'm reading the tracker here correctly, the loot and the canoe. At least that's what I see on his inventory there. We have the ultimate tracker queen extraordinary, Danny 3883 tonight. So you can bet that if it's on the tracker, he picked it up and has it for sure. So it's a nice, quick, easy find. I'm curious, have we seen Provoka yet? I might have missed that.
We've not seen Provoka yet. It looks like the first town that we actually only saw was Onrak here at the, I think it's northwest location. But we've got a Cope sighting.
I think that was more of a Cope murder, if I know Dwight well enough. And we were talking about finding that Oxyale early that allowed him to go in and see what that dungeon was. He opts not to check it, though. That's interesting. There was a marsh floor. It wasn't too deadly. Maybe we're getting a quick save here.
Yeah, maybe we want to save up and then explore.
So what do you think about Team Never Vorpal and their decision this year to play into the meme and come out right and say, no matter what, they're not swinging the Vorpal, even if it's the +5 Vorpal and all they have is a -5 Mazza?
I'm glad you brought that up, because it's Blurst weapons this year, which is a newer feature from last year. You can get a sword that's +5 and you can get a sword that's -5. So cutting themselves off for one option like that is risky. It's very risky. I don't like the call, to be honest.
Yep, me neither. I was looking forward to playing them in round 1, but it looks like I'm gonna have to get through Thundercloud and Sir Link a lot if that's gonna happen. It looks like we have the name of our shards tonight. They are chunks. Dwight has found at least 2 by my count. Over at the bottom right, Demon RHK has located the dwarf entrance, and that's always a good one to have because there's several key item turn-ins there, as well as a large collection of chests once you get your key, of which we have not yet found. DVS doing a little bit of exploring on Earth 4. Pretty dangerous floor at the moment, considering the types of enemies you can get and just kind of how long and sprawling that is. Right into Earth 2, which is also long and sprawling. So that's dangerous. Dwight has found the ice loop. The ice loop on floor entrance will be intact from the whole floor on, so he knows exactly what he's going to expect. I don't anticipate he's going to be able to get through here alive, though. Not at this level.
He might just be trying to get to the key item, or maybe see a couple of tiles or get a couple of chests, and then use that information for later. But this might just be an information dive.
We want to thank everyone for joining us here on RPG Limit Break. There is a question in chat. We did cover it earlier. I'll do it again real quick, and we'll probably go through it again one more time later. But Basically, there's a Lua script between teammates that shares key items. When somebody picks up a key item, that information within 7 seconds will get sent to a co-op server, and then another 7 seconds afterwards within, it'll get sent to the teammate. Once you get the item and it's sent to the server, you have it for good. Even if you wipe, even if you die, it'll come right back there to you. Things that don't share, we talked about earlier, princess saving, slab translations, things like that. If it makes a sound when you pick it up, chances are good that your teammate's going to get it once you have it.
Yeah, it looks like DVS is getting his Canary Castle turning, getting his canoe, getting his loot, and diving into the dungeon here and finding, it looks like a treasure chest cardia. And just going to run that out.
Good chunk of change, about 10k there, and then an Iron 5, which would be really, really great if we had a Knight, but didn't work out. Two teams, what they did was a blind draft. They had no idea what the other team was going to draft. They both told their selections to Darkmoon, who, upon hearing both selections, cackled like a madman while he was waiting to reveal to them just before the race that they both did, in fact, pick Thief Red Mage. So here we are with two Thieves, two Red Mages. And now we're starting to branch out and get a little bit of exploration going. Looks like we have found our first Fiend. Being that it is a shard hunt, you do not have to kill the Fiends, but if you do, you'll be rewarded with 2 shards for killing Lich, 2 shards for killing Carrie, 4 shards for Kraken, and 4 shards for Tiamat. But Tiamat is kind of a 2-in-1, because we have somebody kind of hanging out in front of his door.
Yep, you're going to watch out for that Warmech. It's required this year. Required all 4 weeks. So if you want those 4 shards, you're going to work for them.
Yeah, I think you're more than likely going to go down that Bridge of Destiny this tournament because you want XP from Warmech more so than you want the 4 shards from Tiamat.
It's possible, and then in the future weeks, there's going to be more required shards, so that decision making to either go out and find more or just, take them where you know them, is going to make it a lot tougher.
So Dwight back into the on-rack dungeon. He's seen what's here. He did save. Now we're diving a little bit further back in. DVS over by the Dwarf Cave. Gilgamesh. It's Team Gilgamesh. Demon RHK's partner is heading down towards the Marsh Cave. And Canuck, well, he seems a little bit lost. We're back in Canaria. Maybe there was something here that he wanted, maybe some camping equipment. I'm not quite sure. I'm surprised I have yet to see anybody break out of the Inner Sea yet.
Now, it looks like they're doing a very meticulous sort of clear of the Inner Sea. Demon RHK finding Lefane in Marsh. Ooh, and a warp at level 8. You don't like to see that.
Yep, scratch that off the list. We don't have a Black Wizard. We're not getting warp today. The best you could hope for would be exit early. You're going to have 2 characters that could possibly cast it. So back into the dungeon goes Dwight. Levels are looking pretty good on him last I checked. Looked like Demon RHK just hit 5 across the board. I really like that play that you said that you would do. You have a sky floor early. It's the first floor off of the overworld. You've got 2 lit 3 casters. Maybe fish for, eyes. A couple things that you could probably fish for. There's a Mirage 1-4 as well. There's a couple things that you could be fishing for to get yourself up to about that level 10, level 12 area where you really start to feel comfortable.
Yeah, and even on a team like this, you're going to want those levels just because they don't get a lot of HP fast. You're going to want to get a little bit of levels just to be able to survive through whatever these dungeons are throwing at you.
Demon RHK down at Crescent Lake, and he finds the ever so important Elfland, and we have Fast and Ice 3 at level 3 for Black Magic. It's pretty good. That's going to be fast on all 4 characters. You definitely don't have any complaints with that. Let's see what we get in level 3 White. We're really hoping for life or exit or, hey, that's life in slot 4.
All you get is invis, and you're going to have to make it work. You're going to have to do some work on these bosses.
Well, you get soft. That's a consolation prize, right?
Save yourself some money on buying softs through the rest of the game.
Well, that is unfortunate. No invis 2, no life. Let's see if we have a little bit better luck here in level 4 white magic. We are inspecting the door at the moment. Now we're inside. We're kind of hanging out in front of the desk. That's a bust. Expert's pretty good.
Expert, if you're looking to put some Brax in on Chaos, you could always go for the Expert strats. And it did look like Dwight wiped out of the ice cave to some trance sorcerers. Just like in vanilla, huh?
And Saber Tees with their crits also applying slow 2s. That's a little bit unfortunate. But this ice cave is going to be... It's pretty deadly. I know he's coming in here just for the key item. Not a bad play, but if that trap tile in front is a rough one, maybe table this location and come back once you're a little bit more equipped.
Yep, it looks like we got a question in chat from Bert about clamps and the boss percentages today. We're working with 250 boss percentages as well as 200 clamped enemies. So threats all around throughout the entirety of this run.
Well, there is our incentivized ribbon. It rolled a -5. I don't think anyone really cares about the plus minus on the ribbon. You just care that you have one. Week 1 of the co-op flags treasures are not randomized, so there's going to be 2 more ribbons out there for them. At least, 2 more ribbons. After that, week 2, I believe we are shuffling or randomizing the treasures, and then from there it can go either way. You can find 5 ribbons, you can find none. It's really up to the seed that you roll.
Yeah, with low treasures starting next week, I've seen it do some very silly things with multiple dragon armors, multiple ribbons, no ribbons, somewhere in between. But luckily, we're going to have that incentive ribbon just to make sure that they at least get one.
Yeah, a lot of hatred towards incentivized ribbons, but as long as you don't pair it with loose items, it's actually not all that bad. It's something that you're going to learn to really love in this tournament. And I get the feeling we're going to see quite a few races where they might be in go mode, but they haven't gotten that incentivized ribbon yet, and they're going to keep hunting for it because it might be the only one they're going to find, and they're going to need it. Question in chat. So, Maza, it is entirely possible that if the seed is generous enough, even on low, that you can get multiple items as long as they're not incentivized. If they're incentivized, you're only getting one of them. Speaking of one of, we've got our canoe. Dwight makes it through the trap tile, gets that floater, and you can see him sitting still. Now, the window for it taking that item and sending it to the co-op server, we said before, is about 1 to 7 seconds. Looks like he's being ultra safe and waiting the full 14 seconds. But if you take a look at the bottom left here over on Canuck's side, here in just a moment, even during combat, you're going to see red text along the top that says that his teammate has picked up the floater, and it'll be in Canuck's inventory here in just a second. So keep your eyes peeled for that if it's not cropped off. And then you can bet Dwight is going to be beelining it straight for the Raycon Desert as well.
Yeah, that's some smart communication and a smart move to tell Hangry just hey, go there. You got the canoe, you got the floater, go turn it in.
So we are in the air, sub 20. I believe that's good enough to go ahead and call this one a jet seed.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite the play to push through and get that go into Ice Cave with two thieves and 2 red mages to pick up that floater. So that's a smart call to go after those incentive locations for sure.
So now, what do? You've got the floater. Pretty much the entire world, actually, all of the entire world is open up for exploration now. I think if it were me and my partner Wilkliosis, our number one goal right now is explore, get some information. But at the top of the list of things we're hoping for, it's tail. We want to promote, unless you have a black belt, which this year you are allowed to have a black belt only if you and your opponents agree to put them into the mix. Otherwise, they are banned just like last year. So most of the time, you're going to see a lot of teams promoting as soon as possible.
Yeah, but I think my number one thing I'd want to do here after getting the airship is try and find Provoca if I can find it. You know that town's out there, it's a key item, and then also those level 2 spells could be big.
So we said earlier, towns are shuffled. but they are also mixed in with all the entrances. So it's not like you're going to find one town in another. You can find towns in caves. You have no idea where it's going to be, but that airship certainly makes exploring a lot easier. Usually Cardi Isle's pretty good place to hit up. It's a lot of locations in a very dense area. DVS looks like found the waterfall there just beyond Sky 1 there. Demon RHK. Looks like their team opted not to try the ice cave, so they're going to be on the ground just a little bit longer, but it's not the end of the world. Having the floater is certainly nice, but if DVS and Demon RHK can find some dungeons, get some early levels, and more importantly, get a good chunk of chunks in this case, you may find yourself not having to fly at all. That's happened a time or two before where you literally just stumble upon the 28 to 32 that you need and you're off to the races.
Yep, you just find Temple of Fiends and loot and key and those 28 shards, and that's all you really need. Now, I do see that Gilgamesh here has found the waterfall, and they're really honing in on those instead of locations and trying to spread out. Do you think that maybe they're saving the hard stuff for later? Is that a strategy that they're employing, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a strategy. I don't know if it's the one that they're going to use. I don't know if it's the right one to use. I definitely don't hate it. It kind of lines up with what you were saying of we're really trying to find Provoca. So if I land somewhere, enter the cave, it's not Provoca, I'm writing it down for what it is, which on first sighting is probably just going to get marked on my tracker as a dungeon because you don't know otherwise. And then it's off to another location. Let's see if we can find Provoca, because we know it's not deep downs. So not a bad play. Level 2 magic right now, especially if something like Nuke or Exit's level 2, that's going to be a sight for sore eyes and probably something they're desperately looking for right now.
No, and sorcerers, they follow up the trance with toxic. I don't believe any of them have found the store pro rings, so that's very dangerous to see. And he's still got to make it through on the way back out too.
TNT from the robot, we do know, we have sighted anyways, the dwarf cave, so that's another turn in. We don't have adamant yet, we don't have key yet. You really want to try to knock that out in one fell swoop. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. That's a lock sword, by the way. We do have item magic shuffle on. We were hoping to use alpha to keep that balanced. Unfortunately, we are running on beta, so you could see things as high as nuke and fade sticks. You could unfortunately see dark sticks or lamp shirts or the whole nine here. It looks like Dwight, however, has found a trap tile that he's just not quite yet ready for, but could be some good XP once he gets. I'd come back once I have Ice 3, but finds the Nagas and Waters.
Yep, and I think that it rates up there as one of the highest XP fights in the game. So as long as those waters roll low, you can come back to them. I might want to check them for their HP level. Know that I might not get through it, but if I can kill one and maybe understand what their HP looks like, we may be able to use that as a grind tile in the end game.
So we're kind of all over the world here at the moment. On the left-hand side of your screen, Team Nevervorpal, Dwight, and Hangry Canuck. They made the play of the match so far. Dwight was stubborn. He stuck to his guns. He found that ice cave loot. We said on stream it was a little bit too early, a little bit too deadly for a party at his levels, but nonetheless, perseverance paid off. He was able to dig out the key item, which just so happened to be the floater. And at sub 20, his team was in the air. They're already exploring the world, so they have a pretty sizable advantage at the moment. But don't count out Team Gilgamesh just yet. They're making slow and steady progress. They may not be in the air, but they're still making exploration moves in dungeons. So the less time spent on the overworld, the less time they're losing to Nevervorpal. We'll see who's going to come across. Again, we're still looking for Provoca. I think Dwight is on the hunt for it now. Went through all the Cardia Isles. Where's he going now? It looks like he's probably going to hit up Titan's West and Sardis Cave.
Yep, and I want to go back to your point about the floater not being the end-all be-all as far as being ahead. I noticed that Dwight is only level 4, whereas Gilgamesh has been taking a little bit slow to get a couple levels, and it looks like they're in the have to be in the mid-teens or lower teens at this point.
Yeah, at some point they need to kind of settle down and get some levels underneath them. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to get going. Now, that being said, I have had co-op practices recently where 30, 40 minutes in, I'm still level 5 or 6 because I'm not running into anything that's taking me out. So speaking of things that changed this year, we talked about how there are no loose. We kind of have the opposite of that. This year we have duds, and 3 of them to be exact, one of which we just saw from the Circle of Sages there in Crescent Lake, who gave a soft potion. Sometimes it can be money. It can be a large amount of money that actually helps. It can be a small amount that just kind of wastes your time. It can even be a chunk. So sometimes that's worth it as well. But right there, it's a soft. That's a dud. So it tells his team that they have 2 more dud locations out there, and if they knock those out, everything from then on is going to be worth their time.
Yeah, and that's sort of the swing we took with the flag choice here is instead of the loose items, we're going for the duds, just to keep people guessing, keep the information not perfect, just so that there's some variance in day-to-day racing. And you're right, I've seen everything from a dud location where it feels real bad to go down to to an ice cave and get to the end and get a pure potion or a heal potion, but that's the plan for this thing. So as long as the trade-off is to not get a loot somewhere, hour and 30 in the game, you're still looking for it. So yeah, I think it works a little bit better with what we got going on.
Huge fan of dud locations. Kind of stings when you get that whammy, but at least you have an idea of, okay, here's where I can go after the fact. Whereas with loose, it's kind of a guessing game, and you gotta hope you get lucky and pick the right location quicker than your opponent does. So definitely a welcome change this year. It looks like Canuck, a couple levels under his belt. Last I saw, he was hitting level 11. He does find another item magic there. It's a sleep gauntlet, 2 chunks already in armory, and kind of a dud of a trap tile, but that's damage poison from the arachnids.
Ooh.
But he does get away and finds a harm 3 sword. It's not the best in the world, but it can certainly come in handy, especially in a few locations. Lich 2, Lich 1, kind of speed that up a little bit. Let's round out the rest of armory, and we have another ribbon. So there you go. There's our second ribbon, 2 chunks, and a harm 3 sword. Can't complain about that too badly.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing Dwight also clear out that armory at some point. Hopefully he's communicating with his partner and saying, hey, there's 2 shards. You don't need to step on the trap tile, but there's a ribbon in the upper right.
Yeah, and that's the bit of communication we're talking about. Not only telling them, yes, there's 2 shards in armory, but the very fact, no, you don't have to step on the tile that has damage poison that's going to ruin your day.
And that's probably going to be the biggest separator between teams this year is who can effectively communicate with their partner about exactly what you need them to go to and exactly the most efficient way to get those chunks or shards.
Canuck finds greater than, less than room, Demon RHK making note. You can see him paused right now. He finds the cube lock. You definitely want to mark that down. Does not have the cube yet. Curious to see if he checks the trap tile. Could be a good one. Could be the third eye grind, possibly, that everyone always keeps their eyes out for. Does not check the trap tile unless I missed it. DVS, something took out his party, but he is back up here on rack. He's going to save and get himself going. They need to make their way, I believe it was down in the Elfin location, they need to make their way back over to that ice cave, and they need to do that very soon. Each minute that passes by where they don't have that floater is another minute that they're giving away to the other team, and sooner or later it does start to add up, and you can't come back from it if you're too far gone. So we are going to check greater than, less than. I like this idea. I also like the idea of kind of skipping the chest and just going as far as you can in the dungeon to get the information, and then redive if you need to, or work your way backwards from that last floor.
Yep, and I think it's going to be a nice balance where you'll see a really juicy group of chests and you'll say, okay, well, maybe I'll grab those ones on the way down, but then maybe skip some of the bad ones, like what Hangry's doing here with the greater than, less than.
So 1 chunk so far in greater than, less than. We've got Demon RHK doing the Ordeals loops here. They are shuffled pillars. No idea where they're going to lead to. Unfortunately, level 8 Warp is going to make this a little bit longer than usual. DVS, I believe he's on the right track. Just past this floor
on-rack location, going down to the ice cave.
Does he stick with it or does he leave? It looks like he's leaving. Yeah, okay, he's just doing a check in Mirage 1. Hopefully he gets something good out of here. I think there were a few chunks, but he really does need to progress a little bit further in Ice Cave. That's where he's going to find his floater.
Yeah, and an interesting thing is Demon is going to the Ordeals. I believe that was at Temple of Fiends. He's going to clear that out, and that's the first person on stream to do that. So, they might get a little bit of advantage there as far as information. I'm sure they'll Never Vorpal might not come back there for a while if they remember it.
Looked like Coctruses had Brack and had Dwight down to just a solo character, so he does the reset. He's trying to make his way through this procedurally generated waterfall. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes not so much. It looks like today was a little bit of a challenge. I believe the path was up and to the right. Looked like he was trying to get there, but he got stopped pretty quickly. Chunk pickup there in Mirage 1 for DVS. We'll try to get a look here at their pause screens and see how they're looking for their chunks. Don't think we're anywhere near 2 full rows yet at 12. Each row is going to be 6. And then they'll be able to dive in. So Fiends are optional. We said earlier they do give shards if you kill them. The question is do you want to risk it? Sometimes you go a little bit deeper in these dungeons. You've picked up a few chunks along the way. Do you really want to fight a Fiend on the way out?
Well, if you don't have exits, sometimes it's the fastest way out. One way or the other, right? So
the way is through.
Yeah.
Look at DVS using the B button there to slow down your run just to make sure he doesn't fall through the hole. That's a pretty good strategy if you're not feeling too confident and you don't want to make any banana peel slips. Like our friend Dangwoo in chat right now. That is a wipe for Hangry Canuck. I believe that was Gersharks that took him out.
Yeah, and there's also a wipe for Dwight. Looks like he was on the Agama R Giant tile, but they look like they punched a little too hard for him to handle at the moment.
I'm pretty surprised. Oh, there's Tiamat. So we know that at the end of that bridge is going to be our robot friend Warmech. It is required if you want to get to Tiamat to get those 4 shards. You cannot run from Warmech. With it being on the first floor there, I wouldn't have hated an attempt to just kind of see if you can fish for some spells to see what's not in that pool. Like if you were to pull up to that Warmech and instantly see a nuke or a Cure 4, it feels pretty bad, but at the same time, it feels pretty good to have one of those taken off of the boss scripts there. And we do find our cube for 15k, and we have seen the cube block, but I think it was over on Gilgamarsh's side.
I believe both teams have seen it. It was back. I know that both teams have cleared out the Matoya's cave entrance that had that, but I did. Okay, so Devious just digs the Masa out of that ice cave. I don't know if Never Vorpal saw that.
They didn't. Dwight made that dive, and at the time we said he was a little bit too low on levels, so he just beelined it, got the floater, and I think the excitement led him to just leave and not come back.
Yeah, I don't really blame him not going back into there. Unfortunately, it's just going to cost him this time with diving that really low level and missing that sword.
That's unfortunate. It is a -3, but at the end of the day, it's still a Maza, and a Maza -3 is one of the best swords out there. So certainly a welcome item to find. I wouldn't doubt if Demon RHK is especially once he gets his floater here in just a moment from his teammate, probably a location he's going to want to go check out real quick. You can already see that communication going on the left-hand side of the screen. Canuck found those chunks and the ribbon in Volcano Armory, and Dwight makes his way there almost immediately. A little bit low on shards. He's only got 3 as opposed to DVS on the right-hand side. Last time I saw, he's already sitting at 8. They're not in the air. They will be soon. As soon as they are, I don't know that there was too much of a lead picked up by Never Vorpal, considering they've been in the air for almost 20 minutes now. They're still down levels and shards.
Yeah, and Dwight steps on the tile, takes a nasty wipe to lit 3 slime, so he's got to go back in that armory to pick up his goods.
That's not good. I believe we do have the bottle. Do we have the bottle? I don't think we have a bottle. Astos gave the bottle.
Yep, looks like we do have the bottle on Gilgamarsh's side, but not on the Nevervorpal. Now, them missing that Masa, I mean, do you think that game 1, the choice of never going Vorpal is going to come back and bite him already, or?
Oh, 100%. Especially since he steps on that tile again. That is a trap tile that is easily avoidable, and yet he runs into it. Yeah, we're not going to see the Vorpal. They said earlier today, unless they're liars, which, of course, if they are, we get to ridicule them for the rest of the tournament. They said no Vorpal, no matter what, we're not swinging it. Doesn't matter who we have in the party. So that, plus the fact they don't find the Maza, maybe a Katana could be a saving grace, especially 2 Thieves. There are 2 Katanas out there. But if that rolls -5, it's going to be a little rough. I don't know what they're going to swing.
Well, there's always cat claws.
There's always cat claws. So Gilgamesh does have their floater. Demon RHK got the news from his partner, the welcome news, makes his way directly down to that Raycon Desert. And just shy of 20 minutes after their opponent's Nevervorpal, they are in the air and flying. But I gotta say, short of an exploration lead, I just don't see too much in favor of Nevervorpal at the moment. Their levels are still a little bit lower, and they don't have the shard count.
Yeah, I mean, I would gotta say it's pretty. I would even put, Gilgamesh ahead at this point. They've got shards, they got levels. They're gonna have to do a couple of catch up for exploration, but they've also cleared more dungeons that were close proximity. So, and they get the tail.
Is the tail. We talked about that too as well. Sometimes getting the floater early can kind of be a hindrance to you because it opens up so much to you. And sure, you can go find areas like the Q block or the Rod block. You could find Bahamut. But when you don't have the airship and you're forced to go and dig these deeper dungeons and you do collect those items, by the time you do find those endpoints, you're already ready to go. You can turn in immediately. And that feels a little bit better than having to write down, okay, I need to come back to this location once I get the item versus already having it.
Demon taking nasty wipe to those arachnids. He knows he doesn't need to grab that tail again, but he's just going to peek and see what's on the other side of the Titan's Trove. Maybe cross off another location. It looks like he can cross off on rack. It's kind of a nice move. I do like that.
Mm-hmm. Got a quick look at Canuck's inventory there. He does only have 2 shards, just like his partner Dwight. So they have a long way to go. DVS, last I saw, was at 8. Demon RHK, I've not had a chance to see what he's rocking yet. But they're moving. It looks like Dwight's up to 3 now. Forgive me. He's 1 step closer to getting into Topher, but still a long way to go.
Ooh, unfortunately, it looks like Demon is at 0 shards still. So I hope they've been writing those down because he's going to need to do a lot of catch up.
Level 7, I need to point out we have not seen Life 2 yet. We haven't seen Exit, I don't believe, so it's got to feel a little good knowing that it's probably going to roll somewhere a little bit lower, but we still need to find Provoke. We need to figure out where that location is, not only for the pirates, but for the level 2 spells. We've already found our vendor item. It was the cube. I believe it was at Oasis, so that's already taken care of. My guess is Lefane. Lefane almost always has something worth your time, even though it's out of the way. I'd be curious to see who the first one is to check that.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of Elfins roll Lefane too. It's always rough when a fourth of your spells are gone for the first good chunk of the game, and then that's sort of not the first place you go after you get the floater.
Looks like Temper and Fire 3, both very, very good spells there at level 5. White Magic. Did we get to take a look at the white level 5? I didn't catch it. There's our pro rings, though.
I don't believe I've seen it.
We do have our chime over on Never Purple side. We are going to check out what's in the Mirage Tower. It's a dungeon. It's a dungeon with Sky 4 maze. It is not shuffled. We're not doing the teleporter shuffle. We're not doing the maze this year. So pick your two locations, up, left, up, right, whatever you want to do. You'll get there sooner or later. Still no sign of Katana on Never Vocal side. That is, however, a Quad X5 hammer. So that's the Thor hammer that's rolled Quad X. That feels pretty good. When you don't have swords to swing at the moment, having that insta-kill on anything 300 or less, a welcome sight, I think, for Canuck there.
Oh yeah, and I actually just saw in Canuck's inventory a ruse staff. So that defense sword coming back in staff form, that's a welcome sight to see in Temple of Fiends for sure.
On top of the ruse staff, he just picked up an Ice 3 shirt. Now, we don't have a white wizard or black wizard to equip it, but we can certainly sling that in battle. And when we already know that there's a water trap tile, I don't think you could have asked for anything better than that Ice 3 shirt. Maybe go back and poke him.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So you've also got the Agama R Giant tile, so the Ice 3 shirt's going to pay dividends for whoever decides to wield it while grinding.
So Canuck is starting to build up his inventory. He's finding a couple chunks along the way. We said that he was only at 2 or 3 just a few minutes ago, and look at that. He's doubled it. He's 200%. He's at 4. So that feels pretty good. And he is closing in. I think that was a Pro Cape -4.
Yeah, he's got a lot of items with -4 on him. Silver -4, Pro Cape -4. Not the most defense for his people, but I did see that a gold rolled positive, so that's at least an upside for him.
Well, I mean, it's not that big a deal because we're rocking a party that's going to have tons of HP, right?
That's right. Oh, yeah, so this is self-inflicted, so I can't feel too bad for these guys, but they're going to have a real tough time trying to make it through Topher.
Yeah, we didn't do this. That was all them. DVS, however, he's sitting pretty comfortable. 41 minutes in, he's already got 2 full rows of shards. That's going to be 12 out of his 28, and is about to stumble upon his Ice 3 shirt, and he's going to appreciate that very, very much, I would imagine. Demon RHK, I didn't catch where he's at. His levels just now at level 10 feels a little bit behind, at least for my tastes, at 41. 45 minutes in, you're hoping to have at least found some sort of trap tile that you can grind temporarily just to kind of get those initial levels. Doesn't look like that happened here today. I don't think if we've actually seen a good tile that's even killable yet, but
yeah, they got all the end game ones. They've got 3 Agama R Giant, they've got the Water Naga, and then they've also got Gas D's and Earth 1. But they kind of need something to get them started so they can survive the whopping punches that all 3 of those have been giving.
So a little bit of convergence here on stream, kind of hanging around the northeastern continent. Right outside, look at Canuck waiting for that red text saying he has the chime. Now he's able to enter in. Dwight, however, makes the play that I was calling for, goes down to Lefane, finds out it is not a town, it is a dungeon. You walked all the way over here, you might as well check it out now. Ghosts are not too friendly though. This is the floor. There's a lot of chests here, kind of spread out. This is the floor that I think I take your recommendation, where maybe you skip these chests for now and just go a little bit further into the rabbit hole to see what's at the end here.
Yeah, it's also a first level floor, which is good to skip just so you can see what's deeper and then come back after you're done. You've finished the dungeon. You skip this floor. It's fast to make through. You get some key items that maybe your teammate has to turn in, and then you do the team check, which is to get the shards and that information about the shards for your team.
So I'm having a little bit of a hiccup here on my side as far as the stream goes. Last I saw, it looks like DVS had located the mermaids. Not an incentive location, but very, very chest dense. Still very, very much worth your time just for the shards that you can find alone. Looks like I do have video back now here. So right away, as soon as it does, there's the chunk pickup. their mermaids. We've got Dwight over in Sharknado room, finds an Ice 2 sword. We were looking for what we were going to swing. A vanilla sun sword and an Ice 2 sword certainly helps that cause.
Yeah, hopefully you can get through these Gurpedes. But and keep in mind that's an Ice +2 sword. I know we've seen Ice 3 shirt, but that's things get a little confusing with Blurst and item magic for sure.
We did get a peek at level 5 white magic, Fade, and Life 2. I believe it was slots 2 and 3. So we're going to get locked out.
Oh, no.
I'm not brushed up entirely on Red Mage because I just don't use Red Mages myself. But
Go
ahead.
Yeah, 2 is Red Wizard and 3 is out.
So Fade feels good. No Life 2. Again, we didn't do this. It's not our fault.
We're in for it, man. Let's put a pot of coffee on.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna take out a couple of the mermaids here on Canuck's side. Apparently, whatever. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. That was DVS that was there. So I wonder if there were enough chunks. I only caught one. If it's only one, maybe you don't worry about sending your partner here. I don't think we saw anything else of too much value for him to pick up. It looks like his partner at the same time is diving one of our other incentivized locations. He found the rod block. Just past the vampire is going to be the incentivized earth chest.
Say, Falconic, I have a question. Where did that mermaid go? She just sort of disappeared.
She went to a farm upstate with all of your loved pets from your childhood. No, she's gone. What we have on this year, and it was a last-second decision that I couldn't have supported anymore, it's NPC Guillotine. Bats, in particular, the J. Coper bats that always get in your way. They've got one line of dialogue, which is the exact requirement for them to go goodbye when you talk to them. So one little talk, and they're out of your way. Did Dwight just walk away from a free Cure 2 helmet? That's interesting. Okay.
I believe he did, yeah.
Anyways, she's upstate with the rest of the pets and animals. She's fine. Nothing bad happened, I promise.
I believe MG Weirder has it right. She turned into bubbles, and she's upstate.
Hey, it's everybody's favorite rod in the rod block location, so you don't have to come back here twice. That feels pretty good. Dwight's going to be able to just leave that door to the right and put that rod to use. Now, one of the downsides to using beta at the moment is that there is still the bug with NPC Guillotine where you can talk to the rod block and you can talk to the loot block without having those items, and it will allow you to go past them. If that happens, you will incur a penalty, especially if you don't have those items. If you don't have those items, boy, are we going to have a talk. It might even result in a forfeit for your race. So do not talk to those unless you absolutely know you have the item. The penalty for having the item but not using it is that you have to go into your item screen, you have to show that you have the item, and then you have to wait 3 to 5 seconds. But it looks like Dwight remembered he does have the rod, he used it, and no harm, no foul. So that was incentive location Earth leading directly into incentive location Marsh. We don't have the key, so we can't check the rest of the chests here, but Keylock Marsh is not incentivized, so it's not that big of a deal. We just need to get through these bulls, and we're going to find out what's a little bit further ahead here.
Yeah, we're looking like we're seeing the shard counts kind of creep up for everybody. I did see Angry Head looks like about 6. I believe Dwight's got a little more. And then it looks like DVS is actually finding all the shards for Gilgamesh here. When do you think he's going to go ahead and turn around and start to kind of go over what DVS has gotten?
So that's kind of the interesting question is, when do you double back onto what your partner's done, or when do you just start possibly going for a grind tile to take out fiends? Because fiends can be a really, really good catch-up mechanic as far as shards go. I don't know. I would imagine that if the areas that DVS found that have all the chunks also contain good gear, it might be enough for Demon RHK to turn around and say, okay, I'm going to double back and follow you there.
Yeah, just because of how the shards were placed in this seed, It's just looking like he's going to find him more. In a normal race, and in my practices, I've seen that they're split a bit more even, but you might have to do that double backtracking here, just because of who found him, right?
So just in case anyone missed it, past the incentive rod block, which we found the rod in, so that was nice. That did lead to incentivized marsh. It was, as I can tell, our second dud location. Just some money in that chest behind the bulls. So one more dud location left. They hope that they don't find it, but if they do, that lets them know that any location after that they haven't hit is going to be required. They're going to need to go in and get that knocked out. But by my count, we've got Oxale, we've got Chime, we've got Cube, we've got Rod. I don't see a whole lot left. We've got loot. Key is about the only incentive item that we need, that we care about after this.
Yep, we find Provoca here at the last place to check.
Always.
In Ordeal's location. And would you know it, that exit's available, but we've already cleared everything.
Yeah, that's not fun. You've already done all the digging. You waited till the very end. This is kind of why, and you mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were, look at that, nuke level 2 as well. We were saying earlier that one of the best things that you could possibly do once you get access to the airship is, above all else, go scout for towns. Try to find your magic and then dive the dungeons. It looked like the opposite happened tonight. They did most of their exploring already, and this entire time they could have had 2 nuke casters and 2 exit casters.
I don't blame them. That's kind of out of the way, and usually one of the last places I check. I know Will, Will's going to take that knowledge and metagame us for sure, but it's just so far out of the way. I don't blame them for not checking this already.
Yeah. So Canuck putting Light 3 to good use. I mean, if it's me and I just found nuke, I'm using it first chance, but it's pirates. We really don't care about what we cast on there. Vicky, there it is.
There's that key.
So there's the key. The key's going to get shared over to Dwight. That essentially puts Dwight and Canuck in item go mode. Now, they are still far from actual go mode. They need a lot more shards before that can happen. So we'll put it at semi-go mode. I don't know what we're going to call it this year. Somebody more clever than myself will come up with something.
I'm assuming it's going to be someone in Twitch chat's going to say something really clever, and then that's just going to pick up.
So, voice of God in our ears here. Dark Moon, our restreamer, says that he wants to call it being in the hunt. If you guys like it, go ahead and let him know. If you don't, let him know even louder. DBS is murdering some bats along the way to his incentive Earth location. He is going to find the rod. He's going to really appreciate that, and he's going to feel really good about himself. And then he's going to find incentivized marsh, and he's going to love it even more. And then he's going to get gold, and he's not going to love it so much.
You know what we haven't seen? We haven't seen Bahamut's Cave. I don't believe.
Sure haven't. Not a town, so it gets shuffled in. It could be 7, 8, 9 floors deep. Have we seen C-Split?
I'm not quite sure. I don't believe we have. So there's quite a few places still kind of lurking out there.
With 2 thieves on the table, Bahamut becomes priority number 1 after locating Provoca, which we have. Is Dwight gonna take? Yep, it looks like we are gonna try our incentive. Now this is incentivized, but I think we wiped last time we were here. That Gasty trap tile with an Ice 3 shirt. Oh boy. Nuke over Ice 3. I don't know that that's gonna work out in your favor so much.
I'd call him pretty even, just because Nuke has the way higher accuracy. I'd sit down and do the math, but I think it's probably fine to do either or.
Now that is an easy tile to access here, being on the carry floor. Considering as of now we have 2 nuke casters and an Ice 3 caster via the shirt before class promotion, that's my grind. I'm taking that to probably about 20 right now. 18 to 20. I know we're still waiting on Bahamut and you want to get your spell charges in. But when you're struggling to pick up levels here at the hour mark and you're still below level 15, something needs to get you over the hump.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just because you can get like just a little bit to get started, so everything's so much more safer. These clamped enemies can sometimes get you while you're not, while you're 7 floors deep in a dungeon.
DVS continues his dive with that solo thief, has yet to find that he is in a dud location. Dwight, on the other hand, putting his key to good use. He is checking out the trap tiles and Temple of Fiends. Not a bad play. You never know what you're going to find there. I think this is more so maybe a trap tile check as well. It's not a very good trap tile.
He does find a katana for his troubles, though, so we found both the katanas. I know Hangry's found it at some place.
I had not yet seen the katana. What did it roll?
+1 today, so we're positive. That's always good.
Well, +1 katana. I mean, katana already is a fantastic weapon. It's unfortunate only one character can use it, but hey, here we are with 2 of those characters. So +1 is more than enough to get the seed done. You've got fast, you've got temper on, I think, yeah, you have temper on the red wizards once they promote. I think it was at level 5. So you're fine. You've got 2 melee casters, you've got two buff characters, as it were.
Yeah, and I think if I have the, well, I was thinking it all depends on if we've seen Cure 4 or not, but maybe do a red mage carry. But I think the ninja is probably going to be the best call here once you get to some of the later bosses, just because you got the sort of build your own one-man carry in the ruse staff.
Interesting. So it looks like there is a question in chat. What do you need to win? Well, in a typical Final Fantasy seed, you need to light all 4 orbs. Unfortunately, in co-op, those 4 orbs have been shattered. They've been shattered into, for week 1 anyways, 28 shards. Now, shards go by many names. In this seed, shards are called chunks. You can find chunks out in the world in chests. They're going to replace a lot of kind of low-value items such as heal pots, low gold, pure potions. Those are going to have chunks instead. You need to collect 28 in order to replace the black orb in Temple of Fiends and make your way back in time 2,000 years. There are other ways of getting chunks, though, if you're not getting lucky finding them out in the wild. You can take on fiends, like Dwight is doing here at the top left. He is tackling Lich 1 at the moment. It's a pretty easy fight. He's almost all but guaranteed to get through it, just like he did. And for his troubles, when he stands on the orb platter here, he's going to get 2 shards for that. So it's 2 shards from Lich, 2 from Carry, 4 from Kraken, 4 from Tia. So all in total, 12 shards of your total 28 just from killing fiends. It's a very, very good way to catch up as far as shards go if you're hurting. But the problem is Spellzap designed some flags and he decided to put a Warmech at the end of the bridge. So we're not likely to see too many Tia kills this tournament, I don't think. So where is DVS heading to now? They just need, we did see the adamant pickup here on Dwight's side. DVS and his partner Demon RHK over on Gilgamesh, they do need that key. And when they get that key, they are going to be in whatever it is we're going to call temporary go mode. I think it's to be determined. There were some hard downvotes for Dark Moon's suggestion. And if you don't like it, boy, do I recommend speaking up, letting them know even more.
Yeah, but it looks like he's flying over the location. He's flown over once. He's gone back to it again. I've seen it on the screen, but he needs to go to that Ordeals location to find Provoca and get that key from those pirates.
Sitting at 16 shards, though, I do want to point out that if DVS were so inclined, needing only 12 more, we just talked about it, he could just go kill fiends. Just the fiend kills alone would give him 12, bringing him up to his 28. So doesn't have to check a single chest anymore if he doesn't want to. I don't know why he'd stop. He certainly wants to help find some for his partner. But technically, just throwing it out there, fiend kills and he's ready.
I do appreciate his solo ninja or solo thief strat that he's got going on here. Instead of resurrecting the thief, he decides to dive into more dungeons, do a little bit more exploring. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so that was going to be a question that I pitched out to you. There's a Quake stick just for Dane. 2 thieves, 2 red mages. Are you keeping all 4 alive?
You know, I think I might have to, just because life isn't available, where you kind of need a spare thief. You got your Dan and your Dang, so you maybe keep one around just in case for a rainy day.
So I was over here thinking the DVS was kind of down to a solo thief and it was just information dive, but the Madman is just going single thief and does locate Bahamut. We are going to get a class change. This is one of the things on the very short list of not shared with your partner. When you class change, your partner does not get the class change. They have to go visit Bahamut themselves. Sometimes that works out for you. Sometimes that kind of slows you down a little bit. But with this party, I think we're doing the class change. It looks like I did miss Demon RHK had already found that. He is class changed and is already picking up spells for those ninjas.
Yeah, it looks like he may have let his partner know that, there's the Bahamut. We found him. Go do it. And looks like he made a beeline for there. Now, one interesting thing is that trap tile that we found earlier with the Gasties, you'd actually also see that on this floor too, because it's the Agama tile. So this is also a very, very quick way to get some experience and right off the entrance here, even less steps than the carry floor one. So yeah. I hope they revisit that at some point.
My partner Wilkiosis would call that a veteran move. It's one that I typically just don't see a lot of people piecing together. And it's not the fact that people don't know that there is an Agama tile there. It just kind of gets forgotten. Like you know that that's an Agama tile and you know the Agama tile is good, but very rarely do you see somebody put 2 and 2 together and use that as the Agama grind. In this case, it's a quicker one, so better than that carry floor like you mentioned.
And it looks like he's sticking to the strats. He may have upgraded it to his solo ninja. However, he's still continuing his exploration and shard gathering just with that one character. Typically,
I'd kind of be against this, but we've already seen that Life 2 are locked out. I don't think we've spotted, well, there it is, Cure 4 level 7. That Cure 4 level 7 now changes my strategy, and I think maybe Demon RHK is going to tell that to him. Like, hey, by the way, DVS, Cure 4 is learnable, so you're going to want to bring one of those red mages back, if not both.
And this brings up interesting decision. We've got the Masa, so we can make it work with a red mage. So you've got Cure 4, you've got Ruse, maybe you've got Saber, I'm not too sure, but you can use that as a solo boss killer to make it through Chaos, or at least maybe Tiamat Chaos.
DVS getting the bad news there that although Invis 2 was on the table there, it is not Red Wizard learnable, nor was Life. We are bringing back, and there's that communication, we talked about it, whether or not the fact that Cure 4 was learnable by the Red Wizard over on Demon's side, was that enough for DVS to pick up his characters? And it is. I think he sees the fact that he can have Nuke, potentially. I don't think they've spotted that yet, but they will have Nuke on all 4 characters. Fast, Ice 3, Temper on the Red Wizards. I think it's time. You got plenty of levels on that solo ninja. Throw the katana on, let him be your carry, and then it's time to start getting spell levels for those Red Wizards.
Yeah, I mean, it might be an interesting play where he intentionally let the one ninja get out front as far as levels go, and then once he brings back everybody else up and they grind up, that ninja will still stay out front to be able to do that big melee damage.
Mm-hmm. So we talked earlier, we are on beta for this tournament. There were some very interesting alpha flags that we were excited about using, one of which was the changes to lock. Having lock not just be either 6% or 100%. You can shuffle it up and give it about a 20% extra range or a 50% chance to land. We're on beta though, 100% chance to land, and with the Fiend clamps that we have, even in week 1 at 250%, you're almost all but guaranteed to catch at least one Fiend that's going to roll near max evasion. So lock becomes a huge priority in this tournament. One that you're going to see picked up more than likely above all else. Of course, you're going to get your nukes and your tempers and fast, but lock gets such a huge premium.
Yep, you might be able to get over not using it the first week, but everything past first week, you're gonna want lock. Just as a backup, once you realize, you take a test swing and you see that, one hit, one damage, or whatever happens, and obviously you can share that information with your partner, but you're gonna want that lock to make those fiends less evasive, so you can hit them multiple times.
So we'll see if we can get a shard count here in just a moment. I know there's some numbers on screen, but it's Dark Moon, and I think he does math on Twitch a little bit far too often, because there's just no way he's at 20, is there? Is DVS already at 20 shards?
I believe so. They've all kind of fell into his lap, and I think that he needs to let his partner know where he got those shards, because as we said before, when you need to win, you need both players to finish. So this is about the time we're going to want to start to share that information with your partner, and maybe help them out any way you can to try and get those shards.
I missed the Vorpal pickup, but Demon RHK has the Vorpal in his inventory, does double back and pick up his Maza and some chunks along the way. I think we're seeing just what you mentioned. Demon is now doubling back, starting with the highest priority locations on DVS's notes. Ice Cave being, I would consider, probably the top with that Maza there, and a couple of chunks. And give it 5-10 minutes, I think we're going to see Demon RHK's numbers getting pretty close to 20 himself.
Yeah, we're going to see those shoot up pretty quick, because we've got both. Now we've got those high-level thieves we can run, as well as the exit charges, which is actually, we said that they weren't going to be too useful since they already cleared everything, but I think it's actually going to come into play a lot more now that we have people double backing.
Especially if some of the deeper dungeons are the ones that are shard intensive. That's going to make that a lot quicker for Demon going through. So you really just kind of hope that the communication's obviously there. We've seen time and time again, just in this match alone, when one person picks up an item, the other partner is already waiting at the turn-in or close to the turn-in. We saw DVS get that information about the Cure 4 being Red Wizard learnable, immediately turns around and picks up his character. So the communication's there, but are the notes there? It's one thing to have a shared tracker of some kind and change a drop-down box to show a location, but do you have the patience to take time out of your gameplay, stop what you're doing, and input detailed notes to say exactly where those shards are at? And we'll find out here soon. It looks like communication so far in Gilgamesh is pretty impressive. He's hitting up a lot of those shard-intensive areas already.
Yeah, I've been very impressed by their play, and DVS seems to be the front runner, and he seems to be telling Demon exactly where to go.
Picks up his Cure 4 in Onrak. That was one of our kind of starter towns. DVS looking pretty good. He's got that one ninja that's already mid-20s. The rest of his team a little bit lower behind, because they were kind of laying on the ground a little bit longer. But he's picked them up. He knows where some grind tiles are. We've seen Gas D's, we've seen Waters and Nagas, both very, very friendly with the Ice 3 shirt that we've picked up. My question is, what do they have against ordeals? On their tracker, surely they've got to see that there's just one location that neither of them have visited yet, and it's got to be Provoka. I'm curious why they're not beelining.
Well, maybe they're doing what sometimes happens on my team, where we kind of assume the other person's done it, or is sort of on the docket for someone else to do. And maybe they're focused in on getting some of these levels and doing something else, and not trying to clear out all those locations.
Dwight gets his bad news, Life 2 off the table. He is, however, able to pick up Fade. It's a nice consolation prize, but not exactly what you're hoping for, especially once he kind of already knew that Life's off the table. So there will be no resurrecting tonight. All it takes, Spell, and I know you've seen this time and time again, it just takes one fiend without a script to just swing immediately before you have any chance to get evasion up. And without Life on the table, we could be here for a while.
Yeah, probably the least you want to see that on is Kraken, and then Tiamat. But um, I mean, it's only 1 in 5, right? So, or I don't actually know how it actually works as far as the distribution of scripts, but um,
Here's what I can tell you in my time at FFR is that's a commentator curse if I've ever heard one. I'm gonna go ahead and book it right now because Spells App spoke it into existence. We're gonna see Kraken 2 with no scripts, all melee. Book it.
I mean, it could also just be inks in lit 2s. So
yeah, but it won't be. I'm calling it. I'm putting my reputation on the line. It's gonna be a Kraken 2 with high hits, high crit, all melee. We're gonna be here. Oh, this is going to the morning.
All right, put some coffee on. Let's do it.
All right, Never Vorpal communicating. Dwight possibly drunk. Canuck definitely drunk. Where's he going? They've got all their key items. Now it's just about getting their shards and getting levels. They really, really need levels. Clamp to 250% might sound low. To some people, it sounds high, but you can easily be surprised by some fiends on 250%. So I would imagine that you're gonna want mid-20s at the very least. That would be an informational dive, I would imagine, especially with this party. Hey, take a look at the top right.
We've got a Warmech on screen here.
Warmech that leads off with ink, so that doesn't tell us much other than the fact that...
well, one of those inks are out for Kraken, but I do like the play. You can get some information here. Maybe you do sneak out a kill, but then you can let your partner know, oh, this is available for shards, and he fires off Cure 4.
Hey, there's some information that we were looking for. So Cure 4 out of the Fiend pools. We will not see that in Temple of Fiends. That is, if that's all we see, that's enough. That makes me feel a whole lot better about going in. What I'd really like to see if I were DVS right now, in all honesty, is a nuke. Throw a nuke out there. Let me know that he has it. That's enough for me to say, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go get my levels on the Gasties. I'll see you later.
Yeah, he might be able to switch to a full nuke strat also. Speaking of nuke, and just nuke down Warmech. At least he gets a nuclear out of him. But,
hey, nuke.
There it is.
So that's really, really good information. One of the 4 nuclears out of the pool for sure. One of the 3 nukes out of the pool, and the only Cure 4 is gone. That was best case scenario, I think, for DVS. Granted, you're not going to get your levels from the Warmech, and just like you said, you just go in and just full barrage, just nukes across the board. But in order to do that, you've got to go to Provoca. They have yet to check the Ordeal's location. They don't have nuke. Maybe he'll come back later, but that's really, really good information.
Yeah, and I don't picture them actually nuking their way through Topher, but one boss, maybe they can drum up enough nukes to get it done.
DVS's chunk lead just continues to grow, picks up his 2 back-to-back chunks here in the Volcano Armory, puts him, by our count, at 22, leaves him with just 6 more to go. Have we seen Kraken yet? That's typically an easy 4 to get, Kraken 1.
I don't believe we have. And if we did, maybe someone went in and just walked back out.
That's one to keep your eyes out for. DVS finds his 2nd ribbon. I want to say that Demon's already been in that Volcano Armory and already has it. If not, I can guarantee DVS is telling him right now, hey, go now. Go to Volcano Armory, pick up that 2nd ribbon. Demon doing just what you mentioned before. He's starting to double back, hit the locations that DVS found earlier. Is going to Mermaid, so there must have been a good reason other than the 1 chunk that I was able to spot earlier. He's going through and checking it out. There's a fantastic trap tile for our Fire 3s. Or Fades. Oh, but they have Lit 3. Never mind. Turn around.
Yeah, I saw earlier they Lit 3, and there's so many other tiles that are available to you. maybe we can get some big levels on this white mage. And no, they don't even go down to 1 fade, so
Yeah.
maybe you go back to those gas dragons, especially with 4 Ice 3 casters at this point.
DVS takes the wipe, and all things considered, probably not the worst that he could have done there. The problem is he's got to go back. I don't
It looks
think
like he got kicked out to that entrance.
Yep. So another dive back to that armory to pick up those 2 chunks at least and that ribbon. Here's our C-split that we were kind of concerned with finding early. Demon's got more than enough levels to get through it now. He is going to find a chunk here in this chest, and I think that's the notes kicking in. That's DVS saying, yeah, there was a chunk on C-split left side. Definitely hit that up because he was going to walk right past it. Decided, nah, I'm going to pay attention to the notes and picks up that chunk. It does end in a Cardia treasure right away. That always feels really, really good on Floor Engine Shuffle when you find a split and one of the ends of the split is immediately a dead end.
Yeah, I think it's really comes from the elation of, or rather the dread of seeing a split, and then the elation of it just being over right then and there.
Right. Looks like Team Gilgamesh has put 3 and 4 together and come up with 12. This is math on Twitch. We are closing in on the Provoca location, and I guarantee you, as soon as DVS sees Exit and Nuke on the table, even though only one of them needs to kill pirates to get the key, you're going to see Demon RHK is going to get there real quick. He's going to beeline straight forward deals to pick up those spells.
It looks like we do have Dwight taking those gas dragons and to maybe gain some levels.
I like it. He's not utilizing that the Ice 3 shirt though, and I'm a little bit confused by that. You got the 2 Newcasters, that feels good. I know you got the Mazza, that feels good too, but it's a Mazza -3 in the hands of a ninja that doesn't have levels yet. Probably a better idea to just start slinging that Ice 3. But I like the grind. I don't hate the move.
Yeah, I do like that he's going out to save his progress and in between, because I think the fastest way to get through these grinds is going to have all 4 people up with Ice 3.
Okay, so Demon RHK gets the news about Exit. He gets the news about Nuke. If he goes anywhere other than straight to Ordeals, I'll be surprised. As I say that, my stream is frozen at the moment, so I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, mine's froze for just a second. He's coming back. He picks up his key. Demon doesn't look like he's heading there directly, but he might make a couple of pit stops. And he's checking Cardia Treasury here real quick just to knock that out. I think we're all done with key items, so I think this might be a dud or lead to a dud.
But yeah. Although I didn't catch what the adamant turned into, that very well could be the dud you were just referencing.
I don't know if I've seen
get
it or not, but
I get the logic there. His partner picked up the key, so in his mind, it was more important to go check out I think the last remaining incentivized location for them, at least that they know of. Of course, Adamant's going to turn into something. Now he should be heading to pick up Exit and Nuke, especially with the party that we have. That's 4 casters that can have Nuke. Above anything else, that's where I'd be going.
yeah, it's going to make your exploration faster. It's going to make your grind faster, and looks like we've got an herb turning in tandem, or an adamant turning in tandem.
I think what is
Weird streams, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we lost one of our runners there because that was a little bit too good to be true. We saw it at the same time, and then they were taking the same weird steps. Looks like we might have lost Demon RHK's stream at the moment. We'll see if we can get that back up and running. So what you're seeing is our shard leader, and rightfully so. He's so awesome. Let's get him on there twice. He is sitting at, was that 20 shards still? We do have a Kraken fight going on Canuck's side. That was something we were looking for earlier. Thunder coming out does pull a little bit high. Nukes are coming out. He's trying to whittle them down. I'm watching a PowerPoint presentation at the moment. We're seeing if we can get it through. We're down a red wizard. It's just on a solo ninja now. We're swinging. That is 11 hits for 900 damage from Kraken 1. Oh boy.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know if we saw Brack. Do you remember if we saw Brack anywhere? And if so, was it learnable?
You know, I think I'm going to check the handy dandy notes here. And I believe it is not learnable in Gaia. Or maybe it is, depending on which slot it's in.
All right, I like the adjustment. Canuck gets blasted into next week from Kraken, and his adjustment is to go straight towards that ghastly trap tile that Dwight's sitting on. So levels. I learned a long time ago from Zardia himself, who I do see in chat, and I definitely want to thank for the 5 bits to RPG Limit Break. Above all else, the answer is levels. Levels solve problems. And boy, does Canuck have a problem right now, because that Kraken obliterated him. So we're going to see a little bit of a grind here. Gives us a little bit of time to kind of focus over on what I think is the team that's kind of in the lead at the moment, despite being in the air 20 minutes later. And that's Team Gilgamesh, probably one of the best names in the entire tournament, if you ask me.
Yeah, it looks like he turned into the slab, so he's going to go to Lefane and maybe turn that in. I believe it was in Marsh Cave. I'm expecting it to be a dud, just because, you know, I don't think there's anything left for them to really get.
This one, I believe, well, at least on Demon side, yeah, we're going to get the Opal. I think it was like -2 or 3. Still very, very good. An Opal -2.
Yep, it's better than a gold. +2 is what I believe they are. So
it's a big pickup, especially for this party. Look at that screen full of gas Ds for Dwight, especially when you have a party that can just flat out nuke across the board. Really, really good XP that he's going to pick up. And I'm wondering if Dwight's going to make the adjustment after these levels, because he's been here for a while. Does he start taking on Fiends to close that gap for shards?
And Hangry looks like he's... Oh, he gets through just with one red mage. And no exit charges. Oh no, he's going to walk it out.
Does he have heal pots? Did he cure out? Why? Why didn't he heal up? Canuck, what are you doing? All right, and a frost takes him out. Oh, not what you want to see. Okay, we're getting word from the man, the myth, the legend, Dark Moon himself, our restreamer for tonight, that DDS is back in play. That was Demon RHK that we were seeing earlier, but now we've got everyone back on board. We'll see if we can catch up quickly and see what they might have done along the way. It doesn't look like there's any stationary grind yet for Gilgamesh. Team Nevervorpal is doing the grind. And it looks like Dwight's about done. Now it's about time to go and take out some Fiends. I'd be curious to see if he goes after Kraken. That's 4 shards if he can get past that monster.
Yeah, and it looks like maybe use this time as the opportunity to figure out what you're going to do for Topher. Try and get your invises, your ruses, just to get enough evade to not get hit for nearly 1,000. And I do see that DVS looks to be done with his shards.
That would be pretty on par with what I've been seeing.
Or maybe
in some
2
of the
more. I think it looks like 2 more.
2 more, not bad at all. All he has to do is, if he hasn't taken out Carry yet, that's 2 free easy shards. Very, very winnable, especially with that thief that he's got, or the ninja. We're slinging Ice 3s over on Demon RHK side because we have yet to take our teammates' advice, predictably, and go to Provoca in the Ordeal's location and pick up Nuke. So the time that it would have taken to go do that almost certainly would make up the time on this fight where you're just slinging Ice 3s. So Canuck lost his grind. How much longer is he going to go on this grind here? Does he save a charge of exit so that he doesn't wipe again on the way out? He does. He saves it. Feels pretty good. So it looks like 16 shards for Dwight. Still needs 12 more. He's already taken out a couple of fiends, so he's got to find some more. He's got to double back where Canuck's been, or possibly hit up some new locations. I think we've scouted just about everything out there, though.
Yep. So now it comes down to if you've taken care of those notes and pieced together where all the fiends are, where you guys skipped chests, if you skipped any chests, or where the high concentration of shards are. So if you get to the point and you don't have enough pieces or written down your notes, then you're going to start to panic a little bit. But I believe both teams should have enough information to get the amount of shards that they need to make it through the game.
So just got a quick peek at DVS's inventory. Looks like that was his first katana pickup. A welcome sight for him, indeed. I thought we saw Demon had already located both. It's a little bit surprising if that's the case, that we're just now seeing the pickup there from DVS. But one's enough, especially in the hands of that ninja that he spent all that time collecting levels for. When does Gilgamesh stop to get the grind? Because the levels still don't look good enough for me. I think it's getting about that time where DVS starts thinking, okay, a couple more levels and I'm going to make my dive, and we're going to get some information on the fiends.
Yeah, I think with a fighter-based comp, you might be able to get away with maybe somewhere around 30 at the lowest, but with these ninjas and their abysmal health growth, you're going to want to be a little bit higher, at least to get out of nuke range.
Mm-hmm. Incoming Ice 3 shirt there for Dwight. So he did not have the Ice 3 shirt when he was doing his grind. Feels a little bit bad considering the grind was so lucrative for having that free Ice 3, but no matter. DVS does pick up the second katana, and surely that was from the notes from his partner. So all of a sudden he's got two very, very capable endgame weapons. And I believe, if tracking is correct, 28 shards, DVS technically go mode, ready to dive. Don't know what he's searching for though. Level 29 on that ninja, looks like low 20s on the other two red mages. Not yet picking up the... Yep, he is now. Is it time for a dive? Do you go in this early, or would you go grind?
You know, I would want to get some more levels and then maybe go in a minute or two ahead of my partner, and then be able to call out, where things are. If you think that you might wipe, you probably want to go in now just to get it out of the way and figure out that information. So I guess if you're not going to level up, or if you need to level up later, yeah, I think going in now is a fairly decent idea just to get that information.
Looks like a grind was the decision over the dive. And again, we called it out. They knew that there was a quicker gas detail to be found somewhere else in the world. But it's just one of those things where you see runners overlook it all the time. Granted, this one's not too deep, so it's not that big of a deal in this seed, but sometimes this tile is 3 or 4 floors deep, and if you know about that tile on the diagonal floor, you can get it done a little bit quicker. Casting exit in battle, not really going to work out for DVS.
No, it looks like he's testing it out with melee first, but I hope he does switch to Ice 3 strats or nuke strats.
And do my eyes deceive me? Is Demon RHK finally going to pick up his exit and nuke?
It does seem that way. He's done a couple dives to dungeons to grab shards. It probably would have been a lot faster if he would have grabbed that early.
Carry fight would have gone by a little bit quicker for him as well. That exit, though, even picking it up end game, still might get a few uses out of it. Shard hunt, according to the tracker, he's sitting at 19, so he needs 9 more. Be curious to see where he decides to go to pick those up. His partner's got all 28, so the information's there. Whether or not it's being shared between partners effectively, we'll find out. What I can tell you, though, is that Canucks, he's got some work to do. He's sitting at 13 shards, an hour and 30 minutes into the seed, and I gotta say that feels a little bit behind.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit behind right now. Dwight does have a few more shards than he does. Looks like 21, so he should be able to help him out with maybe where those shard locations are.
So where does Canuck head to now? It's if anything, it's got to be doubling back on where Dwight's already found. Dwight's in at 21. That I still consider a little bit behind, but this is a pretty rough seed, especially with a rough party like this. I can't fault him for that. It's time for Canuck to pick it up and start increasing his shard lead here. I know that this leads to a dungeon. I don't recall how many shards were found here, but being so far out of the way, the only reason you'd come here is if your partner told you it was worth it.
Yeah, I believe this is the Sharknado floor. I think there were quite a few shards here.
Demon equipped with exit and with nuke is now making his way out. It's time for him to go out and collect the rest of the chunks. Yep, 2 chunks right off the bat at that lower right room of Sharknado. So good communication going on between Canuck and between Dwight. But he's down 2 ninjas, and he has no way of resurrecting them. So he's going to have to do this entire dungeon with just the red wizards. Do you think this is by design, or is this just him making the best of a bad situation?
Well, I do know that Hangry does like the red mages, but I think it'd be in his best interest to bring those back. Maybe he didn't want to go to a town first and just wanted to get in there and get those shards.
Demon RHK hot on his heels. Believe he has a full party standing. He's going to make much quicker use of this location here. He's going to pick up 2 free shards here as well. That's going to put him over 20. I think the clear advantage right now has to be with Gilgamesh.
Yep, it goes back to that meticulous sort of play style where they've been picking apart the seed very orderly and making note of those shards, and you can see the demon's been someone on the team's been taking great notes where he's been following exactly what TVS has been doing and getting those shards very efficiently.
So ice -5, not the best shield in the world, but when the alternative is a Procate -4, I'll go ahead and take the elemental resistance. But right on the dot, 130, just before the 131 cutoff, we have our first entrant into Temple of Fiends. It is DVS at the top right. He's been leading pretty much all seed long, so it's no surprise that he's the first one in. I don't know if we're going to get through with the levels that he's got, but a little information never hurt anybody. If he comes in and just gets destroyed right off the bat, like squints from mages and fighters that he can't recover from, already down to 3 characters, then he'll pass that information off to his partner and possibly go back and take that grind. He knows where the grind's at. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, maybe he's just going to dive in there and take a stab at the first few bosses, and then also maybe check the carry chest just for some good information on what's here. And because you definitely going to want to go into at least Lich with a full party. They should know where pro rings are, so I'd hope they would pick those up to guard against that squint the next time through.
So taking a look at our tracker, the notes, thanks to Danny383, I don't see wall anywhere on the table. So the 2 ribbons is going to have to be enough. At the very least, you definitely want those pro rings for some of the death spells. But otherwise, with no life on the table, it only takes 1 fiend having something bad like Zap or Bane. Suddenly this Topher dive is twice as hard.
Yeah, but I believe we've only seen the 2 ribbons, so maybe they can find another ribbon, check some new places and maybe try and search for one of those, but that's really all you're gonna get. So you gotta make it through to those first bosses with at least 4 people standing, just so you have a couple people to lose as the Topher dive goes on,
especially when they run into this Kraken too that's going to have no script thanks to you.
Well, you kind of baited me into that one, to be honest.
So we'll find out here. We are through Lich 2. Wasn't a problem whatsoever. 3 characters, all still alive. On to carry floor. And I think because we've already lost a character so early, and to something like an insta kill from the mages, which feels kind of bad, I would be surprised if we don't at least check the chest here on carry 2. They're really, really quick, but most people don't check them. I don't know why. They're pretty close, and I would consider the inventory the DVS has is still kind of lacking. Maybe a third ribbon would be huge. Weapons, I think we're fine with, but the chance that it could be a third ribbon would be enough for me to want to check that.
Oh, it looks like Dwight making a big kill on Warmech. Wisely warps out and saves his progress before going back in, but he's going to get most of the levels he needs, at least, to put him ahead of DVS. So if you look at it, it looks like Dwight's kind of back in the mix here, because he's just going to be finished up with his shards. He's going to be higher level than DVS, so it's we got ourselves a race.
Carry hitting pretty hard, almost takes out that ninja in one swing, and it looks like we're doing fast on that top ninja. The top ninja's not the one, I believe, the one that's been surviving this entire time. Does not do fast on his DVS ninja though. There's the Bane that we talked about. It does go off, takes out the ninja that I believe has the higher level. The fast is on that top ninja though. One more swing might get this done. Nope, no crits from that mighty katana. Another swing, 12 hits, 190, not getting the job done. The Cure 4 was nice, but it's not enough. You cannot Cure 4 death. We do get through, but at what cost? And there's the reset.
Yeah, there's the reset.
Right,
I think you've already got... Yeah, I was going to say, you already got the information of the first couple of fiends. You know that there's a Bane coming. I think you got to know deep in your heart that you have to be a little bit higher level. We're looking towards 40 at this point.
Yeah. For the health, for sure, you just watched your top ninja, at full health, mind you, because of the Cure 4, get obliterated. I mean, 700 plus damage on that character. So you know that you can't take a hit from carry. At the very least, you want HP, but I think more importantly, you also want the extra M-Def that comes from that. Dwight, however, on his side, just took out Tiamat after that Warmech kill. That puts Dwight at his 28 shards. He's ready to dive as well with the better levels. The problem is this year, Spells Out, you said it earlier, you can't just get by on one person finishing. Both team members have to finish for your team to win. And while Dwight's looking very good, Canuck's a little bit behind still.
Yeah, so if you're ahead on your team, you really need to be thinking about ways you can help your partner catch up, and that's either earlier in the game you need to communicate about how you're doing in the game as far as shard count as well as levels. You can shoulder that burden earlier, and then also really start to dive in and take notes on bosses just to help out your partner.
So both members of Team Gilgamesh are in Topher. Apparently DVS didn't see anything that scared him off too badly, because he's given the green flag to his partner to go ahead and come on in and see if you can't get this done. I disagree. I think Spells Up, you're with me here. We saw enough to know already that levels are probably going to be needed. But I mean, you're in a co-op race. Maybe your practices have been within the 130 to 145, maybe 2 hour range, and you're already starting to feel that pressure. Maybe that starts to get to you, and you start to feel like, well, we just don't have time to grind. We've got to go.
Yeah, if you think that you're going to lose, I mean, obviously you don't want to lose grinding. You want to go down swinging. There's that race mentality you got to get used to, where you got to say, okay, what's the percentage that I'm going to make it through, or what's my chances? And I don't like the chances of making it through, regardless of if they're on chaos at the moment, right? So it's going to be figuring out what that balance is once we get into this tournament.
I wonder if some of this kind of bravado that we're seeing on Gilgamesh is because of what they saw from that Warmech. The nuke, the nuclear, the Cure 4. Does that give you kind of a false sense of security of like, well, you know what, maybe this Topher's not going to be so bad?
It does help, but when you're dying to things that aren't nuke, that it starts to take away from that. Zaps, like you said, Bane, which we know is a very early spell, and frankly, a carry that hits like a Kraken. So, yeah, I just want to get some levels, but I don't fault them for trying.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially if they take a huge hit on the carry too. You're talking maybe 5-6 minutes of time loss, so you could chalk it up to a information dive, probably a bad one, but it's still information. It kind of gets you a feel of what to expect. You can always leave and go get your levels. I think on the other side though, with Canuck, what we're seeing here, I'm going to go ahead and put on my detective hat. I'm going to make some assumptions here. They could be wildly off base, but here's what I'm kind of thinking is happening. I don't think the notes between Dwight and Canuck are quite up to par, and I think you're seeing Canuck just say, you know what, forget your notes or forget what you couldn't remember where the shards were. I'm just going to go after fiends. Now, you could say that Warmech was lucrative for the XP, and he got it, so good for him. But this feels like I need a quick catch-up. I'm going fiend hunter.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to ask him about that in the post-game interview for sure.
So he's on Tiamat 1. I don't think we saw anything too deadly whatsoever. He's going to get through this. He's going to get his 4 shards. But that only puts him up to 21. He's still going to need 7 more shards after that. And I wonder where he's going to get those. And don't look now, but Danny putting in the notes, DVS entered Topher the first time at 131, re-entered at 135, which is just about when his partner Demon went in. We're seeing double carry fights again. We're getting the fast off. We're doing heal 2s. That's surprising. Heal 2 is pretty underwhelming as far as how much it can actually restore, especially when a Kraken hits you for 700. It really doesn't matter if you got that extra 40 in there.
Yeah, you're going to want to save those for out of combat. Fires off the Quad X, still ineffective, so you know she's still got more than 300 HP. 577, still's not getting it done. Bane coming out, misses everybody, but nailing that last red wizard. Stop. Not as bad as Bane, but finally taking her down. Looks like a flame sword. So we're making it through with 3. This is where I said we're going to want to have a couple of those spares, right?
Yep.
And I think it's enough to take a crack at Kraken, but this is definitely going to be more of an information dive for sure, unless Kraken plays nice with inks or lits or something.
That's unfortunate too, because that red wizard, they're the only ones that have invis. So if anyone's going to survive, you want it to be the character that can protect themselves in these upcoming fights, like this Kraken 2, which earlier we said that spells up probably commentator cursed. I'm calling for a 0 script, melee only Kraken. I think this is going to be a 3-round fight in favor of Kraken here. We'll see if that's correct. If it is, I can only imagine the pivot to gaining more levels is going to be swift and immediate.
Well, either way, I believe there's a ruse staff out there. I don't know if they have it, but okay, well, that Kraken didn't hit actually too bad. I mean, it didn't kill a ninja in one hit. So maybe we do get through this. That
was probably the best thing that he could have seen there, is that you can survive a Kraken hit. You can't survive that Kraken hit.
Not that one, but the more telling thing is that a swing and a miss.
Okay, well, there's the hit that we knew was kind of coming.
Expected hit for sure.
Can I just say that we saw maybe 4 or 5 rounds of combat and it was nothing but swings?
Well, hold on now. We could have just gotten unlucky with scripts. Got a low script chance or a low spell chance. I'm holding out hope.
Right, surprisingly, DVS, is this a Topher grind when we have Ghastly trap tiles?
Yeah, because what you're looking for most of the time is Ghasties. You know where they are.
Oh no.
Bad man grind.
This is a bad grind man. Nuke's going off, not getting the job done. Yeah, this is a reset. Anywho, but yeah, we've got Canuck doing exactly as we called before, and again, it's kind of just cementing the fact that I think maybe the notes quite aren't there for Nevervorpal. So to pivot and a very well made pivot from Canuck, he's going Fiend Hunting. We talked about how that's a free 12 shards. What's not free though is this Kraken fight that is just blasting him with melee. Hopefully he'll get through here. His partner is in Topher, is on that carry 2 fight that we know is nuclear and hits pretty hard. Can he get through with these 3 characters? Already down a Red Wizard, he is through. He's going to get the bad news. Good news about a melee heavy Kraken 2 that sometimes doesn't one-shot you.
Yeah, and I think I know for sure Hangry has the Ruse Staff, and I want to see if one of these guys do, but that's really going to be the key to victory if it is a melee-only Kraken.
And I think the answer there is the ninja wielding that Ruse Stick. Dwight not opting to take the free tiles on his walk here on seafloor. I know I've seen him do it before. I think these are nerves. There's just no reason to take extra unnecessary fight tiles on this floor, and yet we saw that happen. Down goes Red Wizard. That's a slap-happy Kraken. Are we going to see any spells?
Full offense.
Oh, it's just melee. I think we've got ourselves a Kraken with no script.
I'm going to say you baited me into it.
Sure. I baited you into it and I made it happen. Yeah, you're not passing blame on me because you're cursed.
All right, I'll take the blame. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, that's good. We did see, though, I mean, to their credit, you've got the Ruse Stick. We talked about it. The Red Wizards have Invis 1, not Invis 2. It was locked out, but Invis 1. You kind of already know it. At least at this point, you have a very strong idea that that's a slap-happy Kraken. That's not the worst thing in the world. Go take a grind, take 10 minutes out of your seed here, get yourself an extra 100, 150, 200 HP. That'll buy you the round that you need, hopefully, to get some of that evasion up. And then from there, just get your way through. You might not make it through with all 4 characters. Maybe you get lucky and you do. But I think this isn't a hurdle that is unclearable.
Yeah, and I think really what the grind's going to do is it's going to make it so that you're going to get to Kraken with 4 people. I don't think it's going to stop a Kraken punch. I mean, we did see a Kraken punch that didn't kill a character, but more than likely it's just going to be that you get your 2 Krakens so that you can get your Invises out.
I really question the play here from DVS. It has just been on fire all seed, has led the way, never looked back. Until now, we've suddenly just kind of slammed on the brakes, and we're doing a walking grind in Topher, where the best tile that we could hope to find at the moment would be Gas D's, that we know is there on a trap tile. Now, Asher in chat is pointing out that he's not quite confident that they found that tile. I could have sworn we've seen it on every screen tonight.
I believe so. Yeah, I have to say, I believe I've seen everybody see Gas D's on a tile. But, even if you didn't, still would you had the high XP Gurnaga fight, and then, I don't know if they saw that or not, but the Agama R-Giant fight. So, the problem is that the encounter rate is really low. So, the amount of time you spend between fights, I don't think makes up for it, and I think you really need to go to those tiles.
I wonder if this is kind of an insight into DVS's mind, that he feels that he's just 2 to 3 levels away from a successful dive, and the time spent leaving to go to that Gas D tile just isn't worth it. I would disagree even with that sentiment, but we'll see. If he stays on this floor any bit longer, I think he's all but given away this race over to Dwight and to Canuck, because Canuck's at 26 shards now. He only needs 2 more. They know where the Gas D tile is. We've seen him grind it. Heck, Dwight's back there grinding it now. It looks like Canuck's making his way there. We've seen the lead kind of flip-flop. First 20 minutes, it was definitely with Nevervorpal. They were in the air, sub 20. They were getting exploration done. Things felt great. Gilgamesh, on the other hand, was kind of walking and canoeing and boating everywhere, picking up shards. They took a commanding lead for most of the match. and it feels like it's just getting given right back over to Nevervolt.
Yeah, these late game decisions have really put the race back to even. We're gonna have kind of a slog through Topher with no life charges, and it's really gonna be whoever that second player, finishes.
A Mage Fighter tile we know is a little deadly. There's an insta-kill spell there, but DBS gets away from it. He's diving. He's got to feel good about his levels, apparently, because he's right back in here. Even though we've seen a little bit of adversity, not only from Kraken, who we expect to hit hard, but Carry hitting a little unusually hard tonight. I don't know that I like the use of nuke on the Agmas here in Topher.
No, because you can use those nuke charges on bosses to kind of push through your damage. You're going to want to be a little diversified with temper charges since you don't really have as many of them. So on bosses, once you get a couple of tempers up, you can use your nukes on the bosses to finish them off.
I think more importantly, if I just saw that correct, on Dwight's Dead Ninja now, I think I just saw Saber at level 2, so that's also in line with Nuke, and if that's the case, there's no way in the world that I'm wasting any of those spell slots.
Well, Saber, Saber changes everything because now you get 3 stacks per turn instead of 2. You've got 2 Temper casters and 1 Saber caster, so you can really build the attack power at a increased rate. So you're right, using those nuke charges, you got to be careful. You really have to think about it.
And I'm curious too. I think if I did see Saber at level 2, which I'm not even entirely sure I did, but if I did see it at level 2, it certainly wasn't on the other ninja. So I question that move in and of itself right there. Why not be on at least both your ninjas? But on top of that, why not also on your red wizards? I know we saw, Exit at level 2 for White Wizard. Let's take a look at our handy dandy notes here from Danny. Exit, Nuke. Lock was good, but we did pick up a lock sword, so it's not like we crucially have to have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it looks like Saber is level 2. It's saw on the screen there, but thinking back to how that Kraken went, lock is important because it looked like pretty high evasion. We were only hitting crits.
It feels pretty bad. I would, especially with a party like this, I think Saber is such a crucial spell. Where is Canuck going? He is going into... He hasn't been here yet, so this is new to him. Looks like maybe the notes are starting to kick in and he knows now where he can pick up 2 quick shards to put him at 28 so that he can start diving.
Yeah, and I believe this was Ice Cave at the bottom of this.
Oh.
So maybe he's going to get that Masa if he remembers.
It'll result in the Mazda. I want to say that the Vorpal might possibly be here as well. Now, granted, Team Never Vorpal.
Yeah.
Oh no, the worst thing that can happen is about to happen. He's going to get his last chunk, I think, in one of these upcoming chests. And it might, and it might steer him out of here. He's not going to go into ice. He's not going to get that Mazda.
At least he's got katanas to do it, but I would feel a lot more comfortable with actually both Masa and Vorpal on a red mage just in case. But so he's finished up. He's going to go into Topher, and it's just all going to come down to if it takes Gilgamesh multiple times to get through while the other team grinds up to a higher and safer level.
Kind of 2 things that happened very recently, to me at least, in last night's weekly race was an early entrance into TOFR with 2 late wipes, while the winner, SVJ, just took levels. He knew it was going to be rough, so he prepared a little bit better for it and made it through on his first dive. And also running into those chunks. You get those chunks that fill out your tracker there, and it causes you to miss out on items. Tonight it was the Mazza. Last night it was the white shirt 4 for a team that had a white wizard. Feels pretty bad, but What are you going to do? Top right of your screen, though, we've got Kraken 2 again, already down a red wizard, the lock sword coming out, Invis coming into play. Saber is picked up on the ninjas there.
Oh, no, he hit the ninja.
Oh, no. That was the one he had fasted, right?
Yeah, that was his guy who was buffing.
So this Kraken not playing around, 0 spells, 0 skills.
4 rounds. See ya. Oh, no, he needs to switch to an invasive strategy. I don't know if he's got the ruse staff, but he needs to probably... honestly, he needs to switch to a red mage.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're going to need those red mages for further action in the Topher.
Yeah, that's rough. To quote my partner, Will Cleosis here, he loves to use this phrase, and I don't think it's ever applied more than now. DVS appears to be dizzy, spinning endlessly. This looks like frustration kicking in. Time's not on your side now. You haven't seen your opponent's finish yet. That feels pretty good. But there's just no reason why what we've seen so far leads me to believe that he can get this done right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to need a strategy change, and I think running the same thing over and over is not going to work out for him.
But he's right back in. He's already on to Lich 2's floor pretty quick. His partner, Demon RHK, is queuing up, getting heals ready. About to make that dive into Kraken 2 that we know is just all melee tonight. And wouldn't you know it, hitting hard as Krakens tend to usually hit. What's the adjustment here? Looks like he's kind of offering up the sacrifice of the red wizards with Ruse up top. Maybe not the worst idea. Make that top one kind of a pseudo tank.
Play the odds.
And the odds were not in his favor. Bye-bye.
Well, they kind of were, because that was who he was supposed to hit. He just didn't get the turn order.
And bye-bye. That's 2 hits, 2 down. The best you could hope for here would be to squeak by on a red wizard. At this point, you got to start to consider conserving those invis charges, those ruse charges, but it doesn't matter because that's another wipe.
You're gonna need all stacks of invis on Kraken, I think. I don't think there's any way around it. That's where you're going to want to spend them.
So Canuck is now on to Lich 2. It's finally in. Took him a little while to get the 28 shards necessary, but does eventually get there. Some of the Fiend kills allowed him to catch up rather quickly, and then he topped it off with the notes from his partner. The levels on Team Neverwhirple look considerably better, at least on Dwight's side. I believe last time I saw he was rocking 40s on some of his characters, so I think this is going to be a little bit of an easier grind through here. It doesn't change the fact that Kraken can still one-shot these low-health characters. But...
Yes, and Bane can cut down your chances to make it through with all 4. Oof, this is close. We've had Gilgamesh in Topher for a while now, and they really haven't used any sort of information they've gotten from those first couple of dives. I think they needed to make the adjustment sooner and go get those levels.
I think we just saw DVS is down to just 2 characters alive after carry. It's not looking good. Even if you do get first turn ruse on Kraken 2, the crits are enough to one-shot these characters. We have double carry fights for Team Neverwhirple. On top, Dwight, the one that did the massive grind, looking a lot better, was at 4 characters until I opened my mouth. Now he's down to 3. And that is a wipe from Canuck. He was down to a single character, and you're just not going to get that done.
No, I think he might need all 4 too. He's sort of left his one ninja on the floor. I can't really agree with that in this case. You're just going to need it to live through at least to Kraken to take the first hit.
So Dwight does get through again, but down to 2 characters. Levels look good. I mean, I don't know that any more levels are going to change the outcome of this upcoming fight any more than it typically would, just because the health gain isn't going to be substantial enough to suddenly absorb 1 hit. So maybe he gets lucky here. Maybe it's a couple of hits without crits behind him. Maybe he gets a Kraken that doesn't one-shot, and he's able to get up some ruse on that Red Wizard. I don't see him getting through this fight with both characters, though. If he does it all, it's going to be down to a single warrior. I mean, he has no ruse on that Red Wizard, so I take that back. This is white. Yeah. 1 hit, even after a fast, feels pretty bad. Going back to Ice Cape, there we go. It was in Volcano. So the pivot. This is what we were talking about. We were kind of hoping Gilgamesh would do, was so many wipes in TOFR, go back and get your levels. It looks like Dwight does think that the next 10 levels are going to make or break the party here, and he's back to the ghastly grind.
Yeah, I'd like him to tell his partner to do the same. You need to trust in your partner's assessment of what the fiends are, and to not have to go get that information for yourself. 8 Kraken hits at a time.
Taking a look at the notes here from Danny, and one spell that I don't see on the list, Bane. And I know that that's such a huge long shot, but this Kraken, chat's already talking about it now, it's really the perfect storm, like Siren has said. It's strong enough to kill you in 1 hit, it's evasive enough to survive, and it has no skills or spells. So in light of all that, it feels horrible to say that insta-kills might be one of your best strategies, but I kind of think insta-kill might be one of your best strategies.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking Bane, we've got the Quake stick. I don't believe Bane has a higher chance than 3 and 256.
Nope.
So, might as well go that route, I guess.
I mean, all it takes is just 1 lucky turn. We've seen in plenty of races, time and time again over the years, somebody throws it out.
That never happens.
Certainly doesn't happen.
One racer can't lose to another who hits Bane. No.
I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't going to bring it up. Anyways, we see DVS going back to the walking grind here in Temple of Fiends, and I almost want to jump in voice chat and ask him, what the heck are you doing? I mean, I can't fault him for wanting levels. I think that's the right move. I do, however, question his decision to do that here. Canuck through Lich 2, however, has his best ninja eating dirt right now. Just a fantastic name on that ninja, by the way. Rolling around to carry 2 with 3 characters, and we've already seen carry at any point can just one-shot these characters. And there's that Bane.
Yeah,
so
you just see it.
We've got 2 ribbons and no wall on the table. That it's probably one of the worst spells you can get on the first spell or 2 from a fiend.
Yeah, this whole seed's kind of really bit them as far as what things landed where for the party comp that they have. They don't have life. They don't have wall. They've only got 2 ribbons. They don't have Invis 2. It's not a great day for red mages.
You know, I'm seriously starting to wonder if we're going to see any party drafts in this tournament thanks to this race.
I guess if we get it out of the way now, then we can let it serve as a warning.
We've already got members of our audience starting to call it quits. Asher taking off. We appreciate you being here, Asher. I wonder how much is left in these runners. Canuck already stated before the race he wanted a quick one. We've got anything but a quick one. Now, granted, you just mentioned it's not our fault. They picked these teams. It just so happens that, this team's not going to work out so well on a Kraken 2 that just punches. Question in chat. Spells Up, I'll let you answer this one. What's a typical time for Final Fantasy Randomizer? I guess that depends on the flag, but how would you answer that?
It's you have to understand the Final Fantasy Randomizer devs have made an extensive different lists of flags. So while I can't begin to answer it, most times people try to make flags that end around 130. And that's for standard kind of 1v1 sort of flags. These are a little bit tougher. The runners have made it a little bit extra tough on themselves. So, I'm not surprised to see it at 2 hours today. But for these co-op tournament flags, I'm thinking it's going to be around 130 to 145 for a typical seed.
Yeah, I think if you have a proper party and some good communication, I think 130, 145. Maybe you'll run into a tough seed, and we're talking week 1 flags here, by the way,
week 1
for the co-op tournament. After that, all bets are off. You're probably going to start to see seeds that go closer to the 2.5 hour as the tournament progresses. But as is the case with a bracket tournament, weeks 2, 3, 4 have less and less participants. So while we will see longer seeds, we're going to see less races overall. So it's going to be worth it. You're going to want that extra content.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great watch, but I feel like also they're going to be, the best of the best as they make it further in their tournament, as well as more practice on them. So they're going to start to see a lot more streamlined approach, and people understand what it takes to get a Topher done. So while I believe they will be longer, I don't think we're going to see, on average, things that go crazy into 2.5 sort of range, maybe around 2 at the high point.
Demon RHK puts a massive 1,300 damage hit on Carry 2. Gets through, but just wasn't worth it. He knew for a fact he wasn't going to get through that Kraken 2, so that's a reset there as well. DVS is just continuing to tell himself that he's going to be able to get through this, that sooner or later. And I think normally that's a good kind of thought process to have, is that if you just throw your body at something enough times, sooner or later you're going to get through. But that's typically on something where turn order is going to help you out, or maybe a skill will come out over a spell that has a higher likelihood. In this case, you know what the brick wall is. It's Kraken 2. Kraken 2 is going to swing, and you have to have some way around that. Chat pointed out earlier, maybe you just sling nukes at it. Maybe the way through that brick wall is just be pure offensive, but we haven't even seen adjustments like that so far. So I'm kind of curious what the thought process is for Gilgamesh.
Yeah, because we haven't seen his high end of health. 250 can be, I mean, it can be prohibitive, but it can also be well within nuke range. If you factor in losing a party member each turn, each round, you might be able to do it with just nukes and make it through with 1 or 2 people, and then carry your way through.
You're looking at 250%, upwards of 2,000 to 2,200 at the high end. It's certainly worth it if you somehow magically get your way to Kraken 2 with 4 characters, knowing that you're going to die within 4 or maybe 5 rounds if you're lucky. Just all offense. Just let it rip. See if you can't get by that. We still have no idea how bad Tiamat or Chaos are, but at least in that scenario, you can start to find out. So back to the grind for Dwight. Definitely don't hate that move. To me, this feels like he's going to 50.
Yeah, he's almost there. He's last I saw, it was like 47 on some of the stragglers. I believe one of his ninjas is already at 50.
Did Canuck just beeline a dungeon to pick up the Vorpal?
it's over before he starts. We've broken him.
Either that or he's looking for some sort of stress relief and he's going to find his way over to Sky 3 and he's going to drop the Vorpal off.
I mean, I was thinking it, but I wasn't gonna say it. I feel like he's looking for that forfeit button, and before then he's gonna get his entertainment out of it.
So what is Canuck up to? He's certainly not going into TOF. This to me feels like Canuck saying it's an exhibition match. I'm not getting paid to be here. I don't have to stay here. Yep, he picked it up just to drop it off over the waterfall. A little bit of stress relief there from Canuck.
Made a robot happy.
Right, back to the action. Carry 2 for the 500th time. Down goes the other ninja. That's a reset. Team Gilgamesh spinning their wheels. What to do, what to do. And now we are grinding on the first floor of Temple of Fiends Revisited. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some forfeits here in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I would like to see Hangry at least try to grind up to get up to those 40 plus. Everything he's done not being in Topher has been sort of wasted. It looks like he's going there now, so you gotta bring up that fourth person just so that you can have 4 people at Kraken.
Burt Reynolds in chat, I would almost always agree with your sentiment that you can't forfeit till your opponent forfeits. But this is an exhibition race, and I just don't think that they care that much to get it done. I certainly want to see him finish. But this is getting rough. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of insight with my setup here, I've got a big 32-inch monitor. That's a huge flex on Twitch. But to the left, I've got a what's the word I'm looking for? Monitor going up and down. There's a word for that. Anyways, the notes that I have from this match have fit on that screen this entire time, but now it's starting to get flooded by Danny putting in, and shout outs to Danny again, all of the times that runners have entered at 131, 135, 142, on and on and on and on, to where all of the other notes are just off my screen. Portrait is the word I was looking for, by the way.
And Devious finally picking up those pro rings, maybe try and guard against some sort of instant kills on the way down. Mm-hmm. And really that's what it's all going to be about, is getting quality attempts at Topher. So you're going to want to get those levels, you're going to get those as much protection against death and spells and MDEF to make it quality attempts at Kraken 2. So you really just need to make sure you get down there, and that's why we talk about getting these levels, even though levels aren't going to stop you from getting one shot by Kraken.
Demon's kind of on a good track here. I know it sounds weird, but seeing that nuclear from Carry, there's the bane now. Seeing the nuclear from Carry right off the bat was probably the best case scenario. It gave a chance to get some of these buffs up so you can start taking her out. But then following up with the Bane took out one of the characters, and that's because we've only got 2 ribbons at the moment. I think 2 might be all that there is. We didn't see some of the Keylock chests like Keylock Marsh. There could be a 3rd one out there. I think there actually absolutely is a 3rd one out there. It could be on Carry 2's floor. Could be in the 2 far away chests. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd hate to see that, but there's quite a few chests that didn't check, like you mentioned, the Keylock chests. Mm-hmm. But really, that would be what they would be looking for. I don't think there's much else that they can really get out in the world aside from levels.
So Dwight, was that a full 4 characters taking to 50? It certainly looks like it, with 600 health across the board on ninjas and red wizards. If anyone's going to get through, it's going to be Dwight. We just need to see, can he get lucky? He's going to need kind of a mixture of things. He's going to need a carry that leads off with nuclear, followed by maybe a swing that doesn't kill a character, because if that Bane rolls out, the MDEF of these classes just aren't high enough to guarantee you're going to get ineffective on all four.
No, Ninja's being the lowest MDEF class aside from if you had got a Master level 1, but the chance of getting baned is still actually very relevant at 50, so again, it's just rolling the dice with better dice each time you go anywhere.
All right, so attention at the top left. This is kind of our lead runner, we believe. Dwight at level 50 across the board. The Bane does come out immediately, and that you gotta reset.
I told him about the bad MDEF.
And that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is that Bane coming out right off the bat. But there's nothing left for Dwight to do, so it's just dive after dive after dive. Sooner or later, Dwight's going to get through. I'm not as confident for Gilgamesh, but we'll find out. Looks like 4 characters alive for DVS, about to pull the carry fight. Let's see if he has any luck getting through with more than one Light Warrior alive at the end. Looks like he's putting all of his dice on that third ninja. The fast, the temper's going out. That's a good swing from the Mazza. And now it's Carrie's turn. Carrie destroys that first red wizard. But DVS through with 3 characters. That's, I mean, it's not the best you could hope for, but it's close to. 3 surviving characters for this Kraken fight. I think the party selection tonight is what did this, and this seed doesn't look as bad as they're making it look with this party.
Yeah, because a fighter should be able to take a hit on carry. White Mage would be guaranteed wall, which would be able to get you past the Bane, and then she'd be guaranteed the Invis 2 to kind of supplement the other Invises that are going to go out. And I do like that he's finally making the decision to forego all outs and hopefully get that red mage through Kraken here with DVS. And I think this is the adjustment he needs to make. Survives 1 hit.
I think he's already up at 3 ruses. It's Cure 4 time, and you hope. Oh, look, the ninja survived a hit. Good on you.
Okay.
Right.
Block with the ninja, maybe.
So the red whiz, full health, max evasion. This is the best we've seen so far on this Kraken on screen. Got the ninja up. Yeah,
no,
look
that's
at
not
that.
max evasion. Needs 1 more ruse. Just because those weren't crits.
The ninja survives a 2nd hit, but the evasion of Kraken is still just too high. He needs a lock. He needs a lock at least, if not multiple. I think the answer here is max evasion on that red wizard, and then just swing through. He's getting some really good turn order here, but it's still just not enough.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is he's opting for a curing strategy with this, and if this works out, it's actually gonna be really good because he'll get two characters through. It is going to cost him every single Cure 4 charge that he had.
So the red wizard survives that hit because of the ruses, but there's that last Cure 4. The knight survives another hit, but that's the last Cure 4. 1 more hit. Knight. The ninja survives 1 more hit, but now he's down to 1 knee. The red wizard fully evasioned up. Kraken does not go down, so now it's down to just a single red whiz. Saber going off. I think he's going to get through this fight.
Yeah,
but I
too.
don't like his chances after this. But hey, mark it down. That's progress.
Yeah, we finally get to see what Tiamat has. Okay, so it looked like Kraken. I want to say it wasn't above 2,000.
No, it didn't feel like it. Looks like we got a few of our veterans joining us in chat. Crab Cakes and Fizzle asking, "What is this?" What's going on here is we have run face first into a Kraken 2 Gatekeeper. Stop me if you've heard this before. With no skills and no spells.
Tiamat drops the red mage in one hit. You got to start off with ruse, I think.
What ruse? You used it all.
We should have. I mean, you can get up to the 9 charges that you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be at the level 50 that we were talking about, but.
Not to mention, you pointed out Canuck has a ruse stick, so I think that's the answer all the way through. That is for Kraken, for Tia, and possibly for Chaos, just right off the bat. Ruse stick, ruse stick, ruse stick. I think I just saw Canuck's soul leave his body. The pause there on the carry 2. Down another wizard. Yep. If I know Canuck, I think he's had just about enough of this seed. He's going back through, so I'm wrong. Team Gilgamesh presses forward. We have finally seen past Kraken. Wouldn't you know it, we found a Tiamat that hits equally as hard, took out that soul red wizard that was left. We think that Dwight has the best shot of making this. He did do that grind to 50 on all 4 characters. But as of now, still has not made it past Kraken, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. He just needs to get a good, easy carry kill, but she's not playing nice today. I mean, this is probably the only time I'm ever going to say this, but you hope that she casts Nuclear to start.
Oh yeah, bring on the nukes and nuclears, just don't do the Bane. Yep, still Dwight not taking those free tiles. I'm not going to correct him on that because he's in the tournament. I'm probably going to have to race him if we get past, was it Team Thunder a lot, which is going to be a rough one for us. So Dwight, you keep taking those fight tiles on Kraken 2's floor, by all means. So DVS closing in on carry 2. Unfortunately, carry 2 sporting Bane for the first spell, and we've only got 2 ribbons. So you're all but guaranteed to lose at least 1 character right off the bat on this fight, and feels pretty bad because you need as many as you can get for Kraken. How long have we been in Topher? Lord Fizzlebeef asks. Spells, you want to take that?
Forever. No, I think we've been in here since, I could actually answer that by reading the notes. I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the winning play. DVS was the first to enter at 131. So however much that is using math, about 50 minutes.
50 minutes in, and we have only gotten past Kraken 2 once. And it was on our last dive here from DVS, who now is down both red wizards. So goodbye to any evasion for Kraken 2. To me, this is a reset. There it is. It's a reset right off the bat. I think both red wizards have to survive. I was about to ask, are we doing a walking grind on TOF proper? No, it's just burning some encounters. All right. Top left of your screen, we've got our highest level party on Kraken 2 here. Dwight with level 50s across the board, but no ruse on that red wizard.
Yeah, no lock either. Lock is really what's going to up that damage.
It looks like... Yep. You see it on your screen there. It looks like Team Never Vorpal has forfeited. We kind of saw this coming. It's just an exhibition race. There's no reason to continue to slam your head against this. I have no doubt if this were a real race, they would have pressed on. But I think tonight's kind of summary is Thief Red Mage. Probably not the best draft that you want to pick.
Yeah, I think we had a discussion earlier today about taking Thieves, and I think that may have clouded their judgment into this double thief comp.
We'll see if we can get them in here for an interview. I would probably hold off on bringing them in for a couple minutes. There's probably some choice words that they're getting out at their keyboards and monitors at the moment.
Yeah, let's let them cool off just a second here.
We did have a third team off stream that just kind of ran for the fun of it, but I'm not entirely sure if they used the Thief Red Mage agreement or if they just went in with a full party.
I've been told that they did. You know, you're going to want to look at the VOD of that one because I believe that was your opponents coming up here, Team Thunderlot.
Yeah, that's impressive. To get the seed done and looking at their times, it was at 147. So both team members for Team Thunderlot finished in 147 with Thieves or Ninjas and Red Wizards. Feels pretty good. I have to assume that they dug out that Rue stick and they just had one powerhouse. Probably the Red Wizard. Actually, no, I take that back. Probably the Ninja with that katana. Just rusing out and maybe getting a little lucky with some turn orders. Maybe a nuclear from a carry or Kraken taking out some of the other characters for him. All right, we're getting some information behind the scenes here that the winning team did rock the Rue strategy. It was Rue stick plus Rues on the two Red Wizards, which we've seen tonight on a melee happy carry 2 or Kraken 2 and Tiamat 2. That's going to get you through. They were able to get through to Chaos with 3 characters, and I just can't imagine that Chaos could be anything scary. He's probably got all the fire 2s, light 2s. Looks like Dwight pressing on still. Maybe he's going to try to get through. Let's take this time while we're kind of waiting for Gilgamesh to wrap things up here, whether they push on or decide to end it early. Tell us a little bit, Spellzap, about some of the changes that we might see from week to week as we progress through the co-op tournament.
Well, it might not be a good time to bring it up, but bosses are going to get harder. They'll increase by a fair amount. I mean, nothing too crazy. It's basically keeping them in the same realm, but bumping up the HP and the evasion is really going to be the big difference here. And then as we progress, we're going to get a few medium-ish tweaks to the game. Next week, we're going to have one of the instead of locations changed to Marsh Key Locked instead of Canary Castle, just to get less free key items. Well, then we're going to move towards the third week. We're going to be bumped up to 32 shards. So you're going to want to make sure that you have all of your notes, written down, and hopefully the teams that make it there will have that very streamlined note-taking ability. That you're going to want to look towards that War Mech being required, and then that choice being a lot harder to make once you have those 32 shards. And then also we're going to see Deep Towns starting at week 3, and then culminating in Deep Topher in the final week.
That I'm looking forward to. Deep Towns, I think, is going to put a nice wrench into the machine. DBS is pivoting, and we're seeing a new strategy. Even though he did make it through Kraken once, so he knows how to get it done, he's opting for just the nuke and pray. I don't think it's going to work out. Nope. He survived. Maybe a lucky hit here. No, that's getting wiped out. We are joined, however, by the Hangry Canuck. Canuck, I know we wanted to give you a few minutes after that seed so that you can get out all your adult words that you, I'm sure, felt like screaming out, but how you feeling?
Oh, not too bad. I figure, if we take a little bit better notes, then we would have known where the shards were, and there was 2 ribbons we kind of missed. I think if we just take better notes, and I think we'll be fine. Just, if you take a normal party, it'd be good. That's about it. I mean, there's not much you can do when Kraken's just punching your lights out for 800 before. Ruse wouldn't have helped because all they did was just punch you every round anyway.
So about the ruse, we did kind of get some insight from the Soul team that was able to finish here, that ruse was basically kind of the only answer. Now, granted, like you mentioned, when they're swinging every round, you're still kind of hoping and praying at that point that, you know, Kraken maybe selects different people each time. But you had located a ruse stick. We were curious if Dwight ever went back and picked up that ruse stick.
No, he didn't. So. But I mean, I tried it, and Carrie back rode my ninja, and then Carrie front rode my ninja, and Carrie mid rode my ninja. So I don't know.
Dwight joining us in chat says he did not pick it up. Adjustments. You guys went into Temple of Fiends, you saw the brick wall, you immediately left and did the gas D tile. You were behind a little bit on some of the shards here. We were kind of wondering, was it the notes that were a little out of order for you guys? Is that what caused you to go fiend hunting, or is fiend shards kind of your preferred way of rounding out your sheet there?
Well, I prefer, especially when you got the ninja hitting pretty good on the fiend, right? So, yeah, I'd rather get I'd rather get the shards off the fiends. I mean, it's 8, 10, it's 12 shards, pretty much free if you're high enough level.
It looks like we're going to get Dwight here in just a second for some post-race interviews. DVS, I believe, mentioned in chat that he's going to try to finish it out, but they are more than welcome to just go ahead and end the stream and bring him in here for the post-race interview. So we'll see if we can get that going here as well. But we're going to start to wrap things up. So while I work on getting DVS in here, Spells Up, if you have any questions for him, I know this was a rough one. I'm sure they're frustrated, but probably a lot to learn from this.
Yeah, you just going back into Topher, you guys were the first to jump out and start to do the grind. You know, I guess let's back up. Let's start towards the beginning of the race. You know, where we weren't in Topher, the whole half the race we weren't. When you guys got the floater, did you guys feel ahead, or what were your thoughts there? That's directed towards.
Well, I know Dwight worked pretty hard to get that floater, and I kind of figured, well, maybe if it was that tough, the other guys might have gave up on it early and come back later. So we may have been in the air before everybody else. But in races like this, I pretend I'm behind the whole way, because I usually am, because I'm no good. But that's how I felt anyway.
I felt pretty behind personally at that point, because I think I died like 10 times going after that floater.
Yeah, and that was kind of the deciding factor of the early game, or rather the route divergence. Now, Dwight was able to get the floater out of there, which let you guys open up a lot more dungeons, and then hopefully maybe try and find one of those towns early. I was thinking that you guys would try and dig for like Provoca, but unfortunately it was at the last location pretty much. So I guess we were joined by DVS. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right,
Still playing, but it's been a while, and you know, grinds aren't always the funnest thing to watch at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Let's go back to the beginning of all this then. Now that I have both you guys in here, tell me about that draft.
Oh man, so
I'm an hour ahead of Eastern.
So we when Dwight recommends a draft, my first instinct is he's gonna do some sort of meme pick. So it's either I pick like good stuff, or we pick something to just have fun, and we decided to go with the have fun thief red mage. So when we saw the same thing come back, it was like, okay, I kind of expected something like that.
Now,
I expected DVS to just pick like fighter black mage or something, so we were just like, all right, we're gonna go thief red. We'll end up somewhat normal. But that's not what happened.
Oh no. Now, have you guys actually taken any thieves in your practices, or has it mostly been, fighter, rainbow, or fighter mages?
I mean, I've practiced with thief. Hold on. Like I've practiced with thief, but I haven't. Like after a while, it was wow. I'm really like. I feel like there are some seeds that are really good with a thief. Like I kept saying as we were running this, I loved having my thief because it was by itself for a good 15, 20 minutes and wasn't dying because it was running constantly. But when you get to Tophers, like you end up with Tophers like the one we have, and then all of a sudden the thief becomes unviable, like less viable in late game. Not unviable, but it's definitely harder. So I found fighter to be a little more consistent.
Now, was there any thought into maybe trying to dig out the rest of the seed for either the third ribbon or some better armor? I know thieves weren't really maxed out on absorb, but was there any thought into that to try and maybe make it through with that sort of? Because basically, what we were thinking about might have made the difference was that there was a ruse staff out in the wild. And if you would have found that, maybe you would have gotten one thief through with the ruse and taken it all the way to the chaos. But
yeah, I mean, like part of it is I haven't run, like I personally haven't run a lot of seeds that end up like this. So it's one of those like, hey, Kraken 2 is like the big hurdle, but then you still have to get through Tiamat 2 and Chaos. And with only 4 spell casts on the ninja, it's like, okay, well, what do I do? Do I focus on a red mage? Do I focus on a ninja? Are they going to be able to survive by themselves? So part of that's just inexperience.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys...
To answer your question specifically, I didn't think about going to dig out other armor. You saw me run and grab the Pro Ring 1, because that was the only other viable armor I knew of. But yeah, not digging out the rest.
No, I know you guys kind of went through the gamut of available options. I mean, really, from what we learned from the other team that did finish, it really did come down to being able to roll the dice a bunch of times, but have some pretty good chances at it. So it wasn't necessarily, you do one thing and then you're just good. So, I mean, when you're watching it back, or if you watch it back, we did throw out a couple ideas, but all in all, I mean, I thought you guys did very well. A couple more questions about the early game, and we can kind of ignore the travesty that was Topher here.
50 or bust.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like 50 and bust here.
Probably.
I mean, that's when I knew I was going to give up. I just didn't know how to win. It's not that I didn't even feel like I could RNG my way through it. When I took it to 50 and I just got smoked by Kraken 2, I was just like, well, I thought maybe I'd given it one shot where I just cast nuke on everybody, but I could never make it past carry with all 4 characters up, so I didn't even want to even try that either.
Yeah, I just did the nuke dive, and because like honestly, Kraken 2, it seems like rolled pretty low because I did end up finishing Kraken 2 once. But when I tried my nuke strats, I rolled like hundreds for each of the nukes until the very last one, which was in the 300s. So, I mean, I still don't know if that strategy would have worked.
I'm gonna guess no.
Maybe if I had a ruse staff, maybe I could have put it on one ninja at the bottom against Kraken, hopefully got 2-3 casts off, and then maybe made it.
Yeah, so what happened there? Your partner located the roost staff, didn't notate it? You just didn't feel like it was worth going to get? What happened?
Yeah, I was the primary note taker, and we just couldn't remember where he found it. He's like, I have a roost staff, I just don't know where I found it, and I didn't find it either. We did okay with the shards and stuff. I think you asked Canuck about that too, about the thing. I just saw the fiends were, the Kraken wasn't very hard to get to, and the Bridge of Destiny was just right there in the Cardi Isles, so I figured it was faster to just kill those fiends than it was to dig out the chunks in random chests. Could be wrong on that, but felt like it was better.
Yeah, I think I agree in that scenario. To your point about shards, though, DVS, I did see that you were quite ahead of your partner in shards. What was sort of going through your mind there? Were you going to kind of scout it out for him, or what were you going to make any adjustments, or what was going on there?
Typically, we're like we dive things pretty independently and are constantly talking about what we're both running into. And it just so happened that I found essentially all the shard locations, and Demon found essentially all of the incentive items. So, like 3/4 of the way through, I guess, I told him, he was saying like, hey, I only have like 2 shards. Meanwhile, I have pretty much everything. And so between Forest Cardia, Lefane, and Mirage, an on-rack dungeon, so just from those alone, you had 18 shards. So, like, at that point it was, here are these places that we still need to go. Here are all of the shards that you need to win the game. You go do those shards, I'll take care of the rest of the locations. And that's how we finished it up.
Pretty impressive. You're leading pretty much the entire way. We do want to start to wrap it up. We do have the links for the runners that are still going there in chat. So even after we end the broadcast here in a couple minutes, please feel free to keep watching them if they're going to continue to press on. So far, it looks like DVS is showing you a pretty impressive parade across Temple of Fiend's first floor here. But it looks like, Demon, you're still going to go on, or are you going to call it quits here in just a little bit as well?
50 or bust. I don't have much I need to do tomorrow morning.
There you go. So you'll have some entertainment if you want to watch Demon RHK's Twitch stream after we close up here. But let's go ahead and move into final thoughts, and we'll just do it alphabetically. Demon RHK, final thoughts.
I like the way that the seed played out early. It was really open, allowed a lot of extraneous routing. Usually you're basically hunting the canoe, I find, in a lot of these seeds, but we got it early, so I got to route in some early ice. Got to take the back way up to Provoca, which was always fun. It was, and like we would talked about earlier, DVS finding all the shards, it just became really nice for me because I just needed to basically backtrack 3 locations and find everything. Other than the obvious Topher issues and the party a little outside of my comfort zone with no black mages, I'm not that upset about it. It was fun.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. DVS, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually been practicing on the alpha flags, which separate out the what is it?
Boss HP.
Boss HP from the boss stats. And so this is actually lower scaling on the bosses than we're used to. But it which we're a little fortunate on that one for this particular seed. But I enjoyed it. I just enjoy the co-op game overall. And again, the fact that, Demon was going in a direction that picked up essentially all the incentives, and I picked up most of the shards, just kind of goes to what the purpose of co-op is and what makes it so fun.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Dwight, part of Never Vorpal, living up to your name. What did you think?
I had a great time at the beginning of the seed. I felt like we did an okay job at, like DVS and Demon were saying, just the early routing decisions. Getting that floater out of there early was nice after we had already found the canoe. But yeah, just obviously a little frustrated with, just my inability to be able to complete the seed. Obviously, I just maybe have to go dig out more stuff, try to find a way.
If it's going to happen, you want it to happen in a practice, right? So now you guys are prepared when the tournament kicks off, which brings me to Spell Zap. If you're still around, a couple months worth of work, all culminating into tonight, leading off into the first week of the co-op tournament. What do you got to say about what we saw tonight and what we can expect?
I'm looking forward to it. People are gonna kind of take notice and realize that you're going to need more than a couple ninjas to beat the seeds, but I'm really happy with the flags. I'm really happy with everybody who came out and who entered in the tournament. I look forward to watching everybody race, and I big shout out to everybody who stopped by to watch today. And it was a tough race for you too, but I think you guys did very well, and you're fairly new runners, and I look to see you guys go deep in this tournament.
Well, I'd certainly echo the sentiments from my co-op staff partner here, Spells Up, and I want to give a huge shout out to two people of whom without none of this is possible. First and foremost is Dark Moon, who is our restreamer tonight, doing an absolute ton of behind-the-scenes work, especially with the layout that you see here on stream. It is primarily his work and his effort that he put in that makes this happen. So certainly want to thank him. And Danny3883, the third member of the co-op staff to plan this year's tournament, could not do any of this without her. Tracking aside, just all the back-end work that she does day in, day out with scheduling is going to make this a lot easier for the rest of the Discord here. So we certainly want to thank them. Can't forget our restream partners tonight, RPG Limit Break, who we are more than happy to be teaming up with for this tournament. We did not have them last year. I'm looking forward to getting to utilize them this year. We also have Randomania, as always, and we have Speed Gaming. If you are in the tournament, we, of course, always ask give at least 24 hours notice for a restream, if at all possible, so that we can make sure that we get you in and squared away. But other than that, I think you saw a fantastic race tonight. I think you saw that week 1 flags, while they're the easiest of the 4 weeks, they are certainly nothing to laugh at. It can be one single gatekeeper, or in the case of tonight, 2, that just puts a halt to things. So we are officially open for business. If you want to start scheduling your matches, please go ahead and do so now. You are free to race immediately without a restream, or within 24 hours with a restream if you want. Week 1 is a little bit extended. You're going to have until August 1st to get all of your races done. If you don't get it done by then, bad things are going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not good. So get them done. But otherwise, enough rambling, enough talking. Demo RHK, DVS7, they're continuing the grind. Please go follow them on their streams. And we certainly thank you guys for showing up tonight. Have a good one.